Good evening. Welcome back to Where the Owls Sleep. It's another session of the Parliament on your Sunday evening. Stocky's back this week and he's the main man later on in the show. How's it going, Stocks?
All good, all good. Nice weekend. I've been working hard today, getting my spotlight ready, and obviously celebrating your birthday yesterday.
I know. For 25 yesterday, for everybody that wants to know how old I am.
Yeah. Don't crack, does it, mate? Don't crack.
Yeah, no, I'm pushing my luck with that one, didn't I? But as always, we do have a Parliament with us. It's not quite full, but there's 4 of us this week. Samir, how's it going, bro? You good?
Yes, all good. First off, I want to say happy birthday for yesterday.
Thank you very much. Much appreciated.
We'll start with that.
Yeah, I know. The big 4-0 for the actual real age if people cared. But yeah.
Keep that quiet.
Yeah. How's it going, John? You good?
Yeah, it's good, man. Happy belated. I'm stunned that you're 40, mate. I'll be honest.
Look at that.
I'm sitting here looking like I'm about 53, bro, and I'm 3 years younger. It's just like that's actually disgraceful.
John's trying to make sure he never loses his place.
Don't worry, John. You're next to me. You look well young, mate.
Right, as usual, we'll start off with some transfer news. And I wanted to start this week's show ever so slightly different because I wanted to talk about the promoted sides. Leeds, Sunderland and Burnley. Because I had a look through earlier, Burnley especially looked to be making a very big play to not get relegated again straight away. They've just brought in Carl Walker this weekend. Axel Tuanzebe's got Premier League experience. Jadon Anthony's played a bit in the Premier League. Marcus Edwards has played decent level. Looks like they're making a decent play. Do you reckon they could potentially do enough to grab onto the coattails of whoever's going to be in and around 17th this season?
Not enough. I think there's a bit more. I'd say one or two more established players. I'd say they could. Carl Walker's a big one. I think that's even with his age, I think that's a big player to have around the dressing room. Like with the amount he's won, I think that's a big signing for Burnley. I'd say so, the biggest ever.
I quite like it. I think if they go with a back 3, I think that's a fantastic signing. If he's been bought to play right back, potentially not.
Yeah,
but right of a back 3, I think that's a fantastic signing. If that's what they're going to do. What are your 2 thoughts?
I think Burnley are getting things done early, which is a key. I think if you look back to Parker's last time in the Prem, he was very, very outspoken, very early into the season when there wasn't long left of a transfer window. I think clearly he didn't feel the club were matching any kind of ambition. So Burnley here, like there's elements of kind of Premier League know-how. Like players like Marcus Edwards that obviously worked in like a loan capacity last year. So bringing in faces that are familiar. It's not bad. I'd be interested to see how well he balances that with that team. That I think probably they're probably going to need more going forward, aren't they? Like So it'd be like you say, it'd be interesting to see.
Over to you, Stocks. What are you saying?
To be honest, I think it's a bit of a calculated gamble. Maybe they were planning to do this all along, but you'd think with Wolves losing Cunha and Aït-Nouri, Brentford losing Frank and Buemo, the centre midfielder going to Arsenal. I've forgotten his name.
Norgard,
yeah, who I think's excellent. Maybe they fancy there could be a couple of teams that can wobble. Obviously, last year West Ham were bad. Tottenham weren't great. Man United weren't great. Maybe they're thinking hangovers, and if their business is done early, they can go running into the season and get some points on the ball quickly. It's a daring strategy. You just hope they're doing everything within their means, because I think we spoke, like, it may have been a month or two ago, the gap between the top of the Champo and 17th in the Prem is ever widening.
Ever wider than You've mentioned a few teams there as well. I'd add Bournemouth into the mix because they have been raided.
Oh,
We said 4 of the back 5 are likely to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's people around Semenyo. There's been talk of Clivert. They're another one that could potentially drop into that mix as well. So, bit of a gamble.
Yeah, it really is.
But then the other two, I thought I'd have a look after I saw what Burnley have done. Sunderland look like they've spent a decent amount of money, but they've let go of a few players who played key roles last season. So you kind of got to look at that, even if they are similar quality. That's just they were where they were when they got promoted. And I don't know enough about any of Leeds' signings to say if they've moved forward at all, either, to be honest. So it looks like Burnley at the minute are the ones who are taking a bit of an educated gamble because they're not chucking like silly amounts of money at it, but they're throwing a little bit around.
Yeah.
And they've potentially got 30 odd million covered in for James Trafford.
Yeah, so there could be more. But
Yeah,
they're
so
going to need to replace Trafford, isn't it? So that 30 million will probably possibly go towards.
They've signed a keeper already.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Wait, who?
Yeah, one. I can't remember which one of these is a keeper, but one of them is.
Oh, okay.
So it'd be interesting to see how they get on. It'd be good if they could. There couldn't be such a cut off because like the relegation was done pretty quickly last season. Sorry, John, but it'd be good if it wasn't done so quickly this year.
Done before a ball was kicked, if you were asking me in that sense. But, it's what it is.
Yeah,
I was just trying to have a look at the table and see if there's anyone else that might potentially get pulled in. You sort of think like Everton in recent years have been one of them teams that have been in the battles, but you just think with Moyes there now, there's just probably going to be a little bit too much know-how.
Absolutely fine.
I suppose really all eyes on Man United, right? You know, like
it would be hilarious if they were floating in and around there again because they have spent a mega amount of money and it would just be so funny.
I think the only thing we've not really mentioned within that is, and I'm not by any stretch trying to suggest, but what's your opinions on Wolves? Because like
Stocky mentioned Wolves first off because they've lost Cunha and Nori, so yeah, they're another one that you'd bracket together with one of the teams that either need to spend a bit of money to strengthen or they could be in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, and I think Wolves with their transfer, they're quite good with it. I reckon they'll go get someone we don't know and then we'll end up, helping them survive and stuff. They'll be around there, but I don't know. I think Wolves is a strong club. Still got a few players, and all they need to do is just add a few more. I think they got a good manager. They play good football. Yeah, just a few more, and I think they'll be all right.
Yeah,
is that agent still there? What's his name? The super agent.
George Mendes, is it?
Yeah, that's the one. It is George Mendes, isn't it? I was going to say Kia Jarabchimyan, but he's the other guy.
Yeah. Save that gold for later, mate. Because obviously Wolves has been like the port of call recently, hasn't it, for like Portuguese-speaking players to go through there to go on everywhere else, like somewhat of like a portal to the top 5 league. So maybe they've got something on the go.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, they must have something in because to basically lose your 2 best players, they must have a little plan of what they're going to do to not fall too far further back because they weren't great last year.
Yeah, I think they've had since January to plan. Yeah, because that was when Cunha was like, "I'm out." Like I said, I want to leave at least by summer. So they've got a few plans. I should think so.
And there's seemingly a strategy just get off.
Good evening to Jack from. Well, he says he's from North Korea, but I'm sure he's in Hungary right now. But
he's on pre-season, isn't he? From what I hear,
and also, welcome to Ethan. We'll get onto the kudos talk in a little while.
Yeah. Oh no! Oh, Stocks. Sorry. I just realised.
Ruined Stocks' flow completely there. easy, Ethan.
Just looked at how quiet it was. I was like, "Oh shit, yeah." Let's not talk about that.
Right. I reckon let's go for a more obvious one rather than the promoted teams here. Oh. So These are the four of the players that Chelsea have officially brought in so far this window, and they're all attackers.
Mm.
If you add on to the fact that they've still got Jadon Sancho, they've still got Sterling, they've still got Cole Palmer, they've still got Neto, they've still got Madueke, and they've still got Nicholas Jackson. That is 10 attacking players, which is going to be a maximum of 4 spots if they play a 4-2-3-1. How on earth are they going to make this work?
To add to all of that, they're now being linked again with Tyler Dibling. So they're now.
These lot just don't give up, man. These lot just don't. Why? Why?
I wish I knew, but like I was having a little bit of a dig earlier for Southampton news just because it's been quite slow so far, and a mate of mine just sort of also said he's like, "Oh, have you sold anyone yet?" And I was thinking we've had the players that have gone on freeze and that, and just as I started doing a bit of digging, it started to really sort of come to light. It's like apparently now Chelsea is sort of like showing a little bit more than just sort of like a base interest in sort of bringing him back again because he was originally there
Yeah.
when he was a bit younger, but he came back because he was homesick. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we'll make of that what you will, but
yeah, it's I can't figure it out. Like Diblin kind of half makes sense. They love to sign players to stop other clubs getting them when they're young. They could probably buy him and loan him somewhere. But the rest of them, apart from maybe Esteval, they're going to want to stay and play. They're not going to want to be loaned out. So then you've got 9 to go into 4 who are all going to want to play.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I've ever seen anything like this before to these numbers.
you have to think Sterling's going out again, though, surely.
Yeah. 100%. He'll go abroad, I'd say. But yeah, the Madueke is obviously. They would speak on that afterwards.
The reverse Jacob Murphy.
Yeah. Jadon Sancho's gone back to United. Yeah, he's gone back to United.
Oh, has he gone back to United?
Yeah, he's gone back.
Oh, yeah, they actually paid for him to go back to United.
That's rude. That's rude.
That's a joke. So they've got 8 to go into 4. If Sterling leaves and Madueke, 6 into 4 spots.
Easy.
Kind of actually does make a bit of sense for rotation purposes.
I don't get any of these players. Honestly, I don't get where they're going to play. I don't. There ain't no. I don't think Chelsea's got any clue what to do with these players. None of them.
Is it anything like? Can we like as a devil's advocate? Is there an argument to be said that like maybe Maresca's going to try and tweak the style of play, and that there is actually a little bit more forethought into these signings than we think there is? Like, or do you think they're just going to play in the exact same way next season and then?
I don't think some of these are Maresca signings. I don't, man, because Chelsea are just so random. They just go and buy whoever. I don't think maybe 1 or 2, but a few of them it's just random. And Chelsea have been like that before Maresca.
Are some of these even upgrades? Because you look at Gittins, who's marked as a decent young player. Is he better than Madueke?
Yes, everyone is.
To be fair, I've done a lot of looking at clips of Madueke, and he's like
he's horrible. Man.
I can see why he would be a very frustrating player, but if you could get the end product right with him, he could go through the levels. But that's the thing that confuses me with this, because say they do whittle it down and they've only got 6 left when the season starts and they play a 4-2-3-1. You would think that it's going to be Neto, Palmer, and potentially Gittins behind either one of Delap or João Pedro.
Yeah.
But like, are the others really going to be that happy to get very limited game time? Because then you've got Delap or João Pedro on the bench, and then who's going to be the other? And Nicholas Jackson.
Well, he was linked with a Middle East move. I saw that during the week, and I don't even look out for Chelsea news, to be honest, and it still popped up on my feed. So, but they're in for anyone, really, aren't they?
Yeah.
I think they're gonna try and live out the Football Manager dream. I really think they're gonna have like a separate starting side for the Europa. They're in the Europa next year, aren't they?
No, they're in the Champs.
Champions League.
Really?
But
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
They finished
well,
fourth,
that's
didn't
why
they?
So
Yeah.
they did. So they did. Yeah, that's why. Well, they badly need to improve. So I can see why they're doing it. The problem is though, they're signing these players because that's who they want to go forward with, and fair enough. But they got a lot of wages around their neck on the players they don't want.
Yeah.
It's all right signing players you do want, but you need to get rid of the ones you don't. And when you offer them silly money, like they're well within their right to go, nah.
No.
It's exactly the same thing as Man United.
Mm.
They have too many players they don't want on big wages, and you can't get rid. Maybe Chelsea have got another hotel they can sell to themselves, or like the under 15s they can sell to cover it. I don't know.
Well, on that, they've just been fined, haven't they?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
and Villa.
They have, yeah.
Them and Villa have just been fined. I think Chelsea's was somewhere in and around 35 million pound or something like that. But this is from 2 seasons ago, I believe, maybe 22, 23. It's from
Ooh.
that period.
I think
So
they're in
Well,
Champions League that
the
year,
best
isn't it?
is yet to come, you'd think, right? If that's what they're up to now.
it does sound like it's the start of something happening. And this isn't a Premier League thing. This is UEFA
Yeah.
or FIFA. Yeah, it must be UEFA. It's UEFA that have fined them. So it would be shocking if they're not then close to potentially getting another one as well, because they've spent an awful lot of money since then.
Mm.
Big up Taxman in the place.
Yes,
A
yes.
little bit of support for you, Samir.
Let's go. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I just look at this, even this picture here, like it does nothing for me. Like you just like I don't see where Chelsea are gonna go with this, like going forward. Like is there gonna be 20 plus? To be fair, you did say you see Delap scoring what close to 20 plus goals, isn't it?
Yeah, I see Delap getting nearish to 20, but the rest of their front line, apart from him and I would say Palmer,
Mm.
I wouldn't consider that a Champions League
Yeah,
attack.
exactly. And that's what I'm saying. That's why I think he's quite weak. This ain't
Pedro's not going to score many because Palmer's on penalties. So
Mm.
I don't see where his goals are going to come from.
Yeah, I'm allowed to say this now. He signed for Chelsea. When he was signing for Newcastle, I didn't want to put it out there into the atmosphere. He scored one non-penalty goal last season.
Wow.
One.
Wow.
João Pedro.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
What?
One
Yeah.
non-penalty goal last season.
No.
Yeah.
João
I've known
Pedro.
this for weeks, but we looked like we were going to sign him, so I didn't want to let everybody else know.
That is nasty work, man. That is,
I'm not handing you ammunition. Get out of it.
that is nasty work.
Load your own gun. Don't come to me for that.
You've
That
dodged
is
the bullet.
nasty.
You've dodged the
Now you
bullet because
remember
with João Pedro and Joe Linton, I'd have been
Oh.
giving you like APA memes and things like that. Just a couple of brutes just going around cleaning people out.
Mate, I was fully on already talking up how versatile he is, how he creates space for others, how he finds them little pockets in the 10 space. I was creating so many angles that I could pretend I was really happy that he was going to take us to another level, just in case we signed him. And he signed Chelsea. So I was actually slightly happy that Chelsea signed him. But I still, not going to lie, I still would have quite liked to sign him because I do like him as a player.
I
Yeah.
think he would have been more effective at Newcastle than he will be at
Yeah,
Chelsea.
100%. I see it at Newcastle.
Nailed on. He would offer you so much more
Yeah.
with Chelsea, as we've already highlighted minutes ago. Is he going to get enough game time to produce his best form?
Yeah. Be interesting to see. Sorry, go on.
No, that's it.
I'm quite excited to see because I feel like now, I think because Pedro went Chelsea, we've gone to a higher bracket for the centre back. And then I think we'll now shop for someone a little bit more unknown on the continent for that spot. And that's kind of what excites me about the fact that he's gone to Chelsea.
Mm. Yeah. I don't see him as like a life-changing signing. Like I don't see if he went to Newcastle, it's not like a big deal. All my days we've signed João Pedro. It's like, oh yeah, we've signed João Pedro. That's one we need more. It's not like I said, it's not a life-changing signing. I don't even think it is for Chelsea either. Like I've not really heard too much about Chelsea fans really celebrating this signing. It's just like, yeah, it's one of them, and I feel like that's what certain clubs need. They need that boost, innit? Of, oh yeah, we've signed a big player. How much did he go for to Chelsea?
60 mil.
60 mil.
Wow.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
Yeah, and this is we'll I think the next slides to do with fees and stuff like that. So I won't
Okay.
get. So we might as well just click over. So batch these two together because I feel they're getting a similar kind of heat in the press. So that's us, Newcastle, and Tottenham. I feel that I've had quite a few people saying to me this week, "Oh, you keep getting rejected. You keep getting rejected. You keep getting rejected." Where, from my point of view, is teams are coming in with silly amount of fees, saying we want 60 million and we only want to pay 50 for a player, and then someone else comes in and pays the 60. That's not rejection for me.
Nah.
Or if we get past that point and we talk to the player and go, right, we're going to offer you 145 grand a week. Someone comes in and goes, right, we're going to offer you 210. Again, not a rejection. We're
No.
sticking to our guns. We're sticking to our brackets. And that's why we haven't got a few of the signings. That's why Mbeumo didn't come. That's why Cunha didn't come. That's why Pedro didn't come. And I'm happy we're doing that because we are one of the clubs that are in and around that top sort of flow in around the Champions League places that just fully cannot afford to do it. So I'm quite happy about that we're sticking to our guns with that. And I think Tottenham are getting a similar kind of heat at the minute. They're going, oh, you can't sign any players, but they're hamstrung at the minute a little bit with, like, say, the Eze thing. They'll go in for Eze. They'll offer the right money that Crystal Palace want, or maybe not, but Tottenham normally pay decent fees, but they'll offer him 130 grand a week. Arsenal will come in and go, right, we'll match the transfer fee and offer you 200. Where are you going to go? It's not rocket science. Even if the clubs were at a similar level, he's going to go Arsenal.
Yeah, and I think
I think the
that's
6 clubs. Sorry, of course, Smith.
yes, yeah. I think that's what's happening in the background. Obviously, they're talking about it. We're not really getting too much like news about it. But onto your point, we used to get that a lot. Of oh yeah, you lost out on this player. Like, it's about putting in bids. If two clubs put in a bid and you've got a chance to talk to that player, if that player chooses you, okay, then you lose out. But if no one's putting a bid and it's all talks at the moment, but another club puts in a bid, just one club puts in a bid and gets that player, it doesn't mean the other club has lost out. Like, I'm with you on that. It makes absolutely no sense when it comes to that. But yeah, with the Eze one, it's definitely in the background. They're probably talking about, yeah, like you said, Tottenham will probably offer him 100, and Arsenal are going to come in and probably offer him like 210, which is crazy. I'll definitely give him 130. There's no way I'm giving him 210.
You
But
wouldn't give Eze 210?
no, hell no.
Wow.
Why
No,
not?
I think Saka's on 300. But yeah, nah. On your first contract, no. 130 seems fair.
Wow.
130 seems fair. 210 is a lot, you know. That's a big.
Yeah, 210's a lot, but I think all of the transfers we've seen so far, so Cunha, Mbeumo, Pedro, Eze is above all of them quite comfortably for me.
Yeah, but they've gone to dumb clubs that will pay that whatever they want. Like, they've gone to United and Chelsea, who'll give them 350. Like, even if they don't flipping deserve it, they've been here for one season. They've gone to absolutely stupid clubs that would actually pay.
Do you know what? Do you know what, Sabir? That wasn't eloquently put, but you're absolutely bang on the money. They are stupid clubs. They need to throw. It's true though. They need to throw money at people. They need to throw money at players to get them in because they desperately need them. They desperately need to try and improve their tune.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's the right way to go things, but
No, you can't be desperate like that. You can't be.
I think also going back to Mitch's original point, like the fact that 6 clubs have qualified for the Champions League this year makes this all the more kind of what Newcastle are doing is all the more sensible because in truth, look at Villa this year, where they've spent the money, they've got into the Champions League. To be honest, they've kind of bet the farm on doing it 2 years running and not got the job done, and that puts you in a far worse position. And I think obviously like Newcastle and Spurs are probably both aware of the fact that look, there's going to be one less. In all likelihood, there's probably going to be one less extra place next year. This year was pretty much an anomaly. Like 6 teams having that opportunity. Like there's not going to be, particularly for Spurs, like a back door to walk through, like they did by winning the Europa League. So you've got to be really careful with the way that you handle those situations.
Yeah,
quite right, John.
Totally agree. Right. So while we're still on transfers, Tottenham, as I can't remember his name now, as Ethan has said, heavily linked with Mohamed Kudus. What are your feelings on this, Stocky? Have you heard any more on it? Because I've seen snippets, but like you said about Chelsea, I don't pay loads of attention to Tottenham.
It's been going on quite a while, actually. But I don't mean to shock you, gentlemen. I hope you're all sitting down. But Daniel Levy's trying to do his usual lowball stuff.
Yes, of course.
You know, I criticise our owners a lot. I will do later on. But they're not as stupid enough as to give him away to Tottenham 50 million just because they're in the Champions League. If you want a player, you have to make it worthwhile for us to sell him. And unless there's no point just keep going, oh, we've bid 50 million, can we have him? And then getting Kudos's representation to say, oh, he's really interested in Tottenham. He only wants to speak to Tottenham. We don't give a flying fuck. Pay the money or go away.
Yeah, and at least come up with a believable lie.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like, we've agreed terms with the player, but the club ain't agreeing. Well, no, we're not. Yeah. Pay the money. I think the first 2 weeks in July he can go to a Premier League club for 80 million. I think if it was that's his release clause. I think other clubs. I wouldn't quote it, but from what I've read between the lines, West Ham would negotiate with other teams to find a meeting point, whereas for Tottenham, they'll say, this is your price, take it or leave it.
Yeah, okay. Which makes sense.
Which is, Fred, to be honest, I knew he was going for a long time. I thought he would go to a better club than Tottenham, because let's face it, they'll say we're in the Champions League. They fucking shit-assed it. They were a bit fortunate. They're a bit fortunate to get there. And now they need to up the quality because they just haven't got it at the moment, have they?
No.
And it's a very logical signing to go for. West Ham were poor last year. Take one of their better players, because obviously we finished above them. So take one of their better players. And to be honest, I think his time at West Ham's done. I think I could tell that from about sort of December, January last year.
How's that going to go down after he started slapping up their players last season, though?
Did he slap them up, or did they fall over quickly?
Don't know. The rumor has it he was slapping them up, Stocks. I
saw a few slaps.
Let's just call it flailing hands. Let's just call it that.
Yeah. He was trying to swat a fly that was near their face like that, and everyone started falling over.
I like that. Yeah, know that story.
It would be interesting to see what happens with him. The last thing I wanted, what are your actual thoughts on Kudus as a player, to be fair? Because when he first came in, he sort of hit the ground running, and he seems to have been off the boil for most of this season for me, unless I haven't paid that much attention. I haven't seen him being great that often.
I think off the boil is a very polite and a nicer way of putting than what I would have said. But I think there's circumstances that West Ham's fault around that. He was excellent under Moyes, like excellent. Like everyone was thinking, how have West Ham done this? He is a player. When with Lopetegui there, I don't know whether he was shifted somewhere he didn't want to be or wasn't impressed. Maybe the club gave him guarantees of improving the playing staff, having a more profile coach, but he just didn't look interested. And doubled up with the fact, like second season syndrome, everyone knows how good he is.
Yep.
And you're going to have what? Say if he's playing inside right or inside left, you're going to have your right centre midfielder dropping in, your right back, your right midfielder just making a tight box so he can't receive the ball. And everyone did the same thing, and he didn't find the space. He wasn't afforded the space anymore.
Yeah.
So that coupled with West Ham being bad, the manager situations, I can see why it happened, but at times he really looked like he didn't want to be there. And as amazing as he was his first year, we all was like, well, this is ended. Like you just know
also is it also like changing the playing styles like under the different managers as well? You know, like
Yeah. Well, we never really changed it, to be honest. We went from what Moyes did to scattergunning a bit. Then Potter just about doing enough to make sure we stayed up, sort of thing.
yeah.
Do you know what? It's not like I think it's water under the bridge now, and it's just a case of getting as much as we can for him.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Okay, fair enough.
If his head's gone, get rid. You know, like
Yeah, totally. We ain't in a position now to carry anyone.
Yeah, especially if his head's been fully turned by Tottenham. Like,
Yeah,
definitely
well,
need to get rid of this point. He's
as-
not. He's barely moving. He's moving like sideways ish.
yeah. As I read on Twitter today from someone, I can't remember who it was, but they said, well, clearly his decision making off the pitch is just as bad on the pitch. So
Quality. You gotta love it. You gotta love it.
Yeah.
Right. We'll end on Arsenal. I know we did a lot on Arsenal, and up until about 2 hours ago, not a lot had changed. But they've announced Zubimendi this afternoon. And there is the talk. The talk is that Gyökeres is on his way to London to seal a deal to Arsenal, which frustrates me a bit because he was the one that I thought does fit, and I was hoping you was going to get Sesko. But Samir, Gyökeres coming in, you must be a happy man.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. Well, like we said, we had a choice between the two, and I did want Gyökeres based on because I've seen him a few times last season, and he's just like he's just one of the strikers. Like I say, he just wants goals and goals and goals and goals, and that's exactly what we need. Like I think he would like it's one of the what I said earlier about like changing. Like you need signings that will change your lives. I think this is it for us. I honestly do because you saw Arsenal like we played good football in the last 3 seasons, but everyone knows what we were missing. We are finally getting it. So and it's like one of the missing pieces. And yeah, Zubimendi as well was another quality signing. Like, I've seen him a few times last season as well, and it's just it's all life changing signings, which I'm loving at the moment, man. I'm on this I'm on a high right now. We signed Zubimendi, and then like an hour after, they're saying, yeah, we've almost had a bid accepted for Gyökeres, and everything is just moving in quick. So yeah, man, everything is moving in the right direction for us at the moment.
allegedly, Zubimendi was meant to have been done like Thursday, but then I think because of other events that happened, like they
Yeah,
claim that Arsenal might have opted not to announce it just based on like out of respect.
yeah,
Um, with Gyökeres though, I really enjoyed the fact that like midweek, stories started getting fired into the press about suddenly he might be open to working with like Amorim again at Man United, and I looked at that and just went, that is literally like the biggest sort of we're just going to try and force Arsenal's hand that I've ever seen in my life because
yeah,
there's no way that any of that there's anything to that, but it just seemed like yeah, someone at Sporting's just gone, yeah, shove that one out there for us, you know,
yeah.
speed this thing along a bit.
Yeah.
Even that or someone on Gyökeres' team has done it, but
Yeah, he was so desperate to get out and actually he wants to sign for Arsenal. He's saying, "Look, I'm not going training. I'm not doing that." Like the only team what Fabio said, the only team he wanted was Arsenal. So you need players like that, man. Honestly, and that's what Arteta's been saying. I want players who want to play for Arsenal.
players
And
that spit their dummy out when they don't get what they want.
Yeah,
Yeah, mate. That's bang on, Arsenal. Hang on,
it
mate.
fits.
Sign him up.
It fits.
you wait for your spotlight, all right? You
That,
wait for your
What?
that
What?
picture
I'm
like
just
Brad
saying.
mentality will fit right in.
I'm just saying. I would have said that any week.
Yeah, we know.
Is anybody? Does anybody think this might actually not work though? Because
Nah.
like I don't want to put a dampener on things, yeah. But he scored a bag load of goals in Portugal, yeah. Portugal is a league that Opta don't even do stats in, and we've seen players like Darwin Núñez, who scored a bag load of goals over there, be pretty rubbish when he comes over. Do you think this could be another scenario where we see a similar thing?
No, I think Arsenal. Create too many chances for him.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless he like, unless they Arsenal become like the striker graveyard Chelsea was post Drogba. I can't see him not scoring enough goals. The only thing that could slightly down it is, when a striker comes over for big money, you want to get a goal within the first couple of games.
Yeah.
Just to get your feet on. It's one of them things. Sometimes the longer it goes, the more jittery you get. But they'll create too many chances for him. And even if they don't, even if he's not getting the chances, I think actually having a forward player affords more space for other players.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it clicks for him, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, with Zubimendi as well, maybe more space for Rice to work in and things like that. It's like there's got like that could actually be a goal threat that opens up that hasn't been there as prominently before as well, like Rice. So
well, maybe Rice with Arteta's realised that playing Rice like a bit like Maury was at West Ham, just letting him go up and down, box to box, is better. I've always said he's better running with the ball than he is passing it.
Yeah, he definitely drives it up the field.
Yeah.
What was the other thing I was going? The only other thing I was going to add on Arsenal, Samir, outgoing. A lot of noise rumbling around a certain Ethan Wanyeri.
Yeah. So I remember you sent in the chat about that. Well, I woke up this morning and I saw that. We've said to him, we'll give him some game time. So there's progress on him signing a new contract. See, with me personally, man, I'm not too fussed on outgoings, man. I don't care who goes. I just care about the incomings, man. And like, you want to leave. Like, there ain't anyone that big. Apart from players like Saka, Gabriel, Saliba, I don't. Yeah, the rest. Oh, and Declan Rice. The rest for me, I don't really care if you leave. It's just all about incoming to me. But it's about like I said, it's about incomings and players that will help us to win the league. Like, I really, really believe we could win the league. And if we lost Ethan, it's not the end of the world, is it? Like, he's 18. Like, I'm not worried about the future. I'm worried about tomorrow, and I want to win the Premier League. So yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
It's a fair point. Can't say I agree with it, but that's your stance.
Ruthless like that. Like, we can replace him. We've got another youngster coming out called Max Darwin, who everyone is pretty much raving about. We've got so many youngsters right now.
Yeah, but you say that, they get to exactly the same position that Wanyeri's in, and they don't see their way into the first team. The same thing happens again. You don't want to become that club.
I don't care.
That is why I'm so adamant I don't want Miley to leave Newcastle. Yeah, I'm not saying he should start every game next season, but I'm saying in about 2 or 3 years' time, he's going to be one of the best midfielders in this league.
All right, yeah, I understand that, but are you, like, at the moment, are you worrying about youngsters coming up, or are you worrying about players coming in to
both?
Nah, fuck that.
You don't want to lose. You don't want to lose your potential high ceiling players, the players that your academy have looked at and thought these can go on to actually potentially be world class. You don't want to lose them because to replace them, say you sell him now, what are you going to get? 35, 40 mil? If he goes on to be as good as people seem to think he's going to be, in 2-3 years, he's going to be worth £100 million.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't look at that. I look at just
replacing. I know you want to win things, Samir, but these people that come through your youth academy, they're the totem pole. They're the ones if Saka would not have the love that he would have if he was brought in. He'd come through the ranks. These people are priceless. And also, if you want to carry on buying players, then we'll just start. It's just like Man City and Blackburn in '95 and everything. You can't just keep throwing money. We need more players to win it. You got Arsenal are in a very fortunate position with your academy in that you have a lot of talented youngsters. Like that I wouldn't set out. I wouldn't give the lot underneath of, oh well, like I've trained with Ethan for years and he's not good enough to make the first team. Am I not? Should I just go somewhere else now? Should we go somewhere else where we get opportunities? Because you got to remember these. All right, no doubt they probably support Arsenal or whatever, But first of all, they want to become a footballer, and if they can't become a professional footballer at Arsenal, they'll go other places, and it's cheaper. Like, it's not a good thing. I think you should keep that pathway going.
Yeah,
There's
100%.
something more.
I don't mind it.
Exactly.
But it's just like, for me personally, it's not like the end of the world right now for me. Like, I don't like, even when Saka was that age, I was just like, I really wanted like a big signing at the time to
What,
just
like
like,
Pepe?
yeah, even yeah,
How'd that work out for you?
even though it failed, but still, like, I just wanted it because like I didn't want to wait. Like, I'm
Yeah,
not.
but imagine you. Like, I've used
Mate.
Pepe for a deliberate reason,
Mm.
not just to take the piss, but you
No,
let
you're
go
right.
of a Wanyeri and you bring in a Madueke, and you've practically done the same thing. You've just got a better team. You've just blocked Wanyeri's route into the first team even more with a player who's not actually that good, not even that much better than Wanyeri is now.
Yeah, but the rumors are that he's not, like, everyone needs to start talking about him on the right, like it's number 10 or
Who?
Wanyeri.
I thought he was going to
Yeah,
say Madueke. I was about
no,
to cry.
hell no, I didn't. No, hell no. But yeah, like I'd really like Wanyeri. Like, obviously, I would be like secretly gutted if he left, but I'm not gonna cry. But
Okay.
yeah, I'm in that zone now, man. Like, the incomings are just like, I'm up here right now. I'm not too worried about the outgoings.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I'm not trying to bring you down off your cloud nine. I just
of
thought
course,
I'd create a discussion around it. Right. I don't think there's anything that major else happening in transfers, to be honest.
The only one I was going to bring up really briefly was: has anyone seen the one that's gone through in Turkey in the last few hours?
No, haven't.
Was it
Tammy Abrahams.
No, John. Yeah, no, John
yeah,
Duran, formerly of
Yeah,
Aston Villa, has now gone to Fenerbahce.
yeah.
yeah, he's
What?
on loan for a year.
So he's gone on loan to Fenerbahce for a
Wow.
year. So he's going to be playing under Mourinho. I was like,
That
oh,
is
this is
mad.
interesting.
That's a
So I'm sort of like mildly invested in this whole like Mourinho against the Turkish, like the Turkish league thing. It's just quite funny. But it's like the idea he's got John Duran in. It's like, ooh, that could be quite big, you know.
That's surely this means that they're going to look a little bit deeper at some of these transfers going out to Saudi, because he left Villa in January for massive
Yeah,
money, and now he's on loan in Turkey.
yeah,
That screams of dodgy.
yeah, yeah.
It's weird, isn't it? Why? What? Like, he
Like,
didn't really look unhappy. I don't know about the stuff off the pitch, but on the pitch, he looked quite happy.
without this being a Newcastle trying to victimize Newcastle, if we did that, all hell would break loose.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
hell
exact same thing.
yeah.
All hell would break loose. Like, that is mental. Surely someone's going to start looking into that, because that just doesn't add up. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
I think that's the problem, though, isn't it? It's not Newcastle. It's
I mean,
Steve
the one thing you could maybe say is that, like, I guess John Duran's not exactly. I mean, in his very very short career, he's made quite a lot of noise at every club that he's been at, whether that's been about game playing time or whatever. So is it just something where, like, he's one of those characters that is just a bit of a pain in the backside that people want to move on? Interesting. I think him and Mourinho would be quite an interesting like clash in that sense. See how that works, but
I don't know
Yeah.
how someone like Man United didn't like have a look at him, man. I think he's very. He's a class striker for me, man.
yeah. I mean, I got to see him at Villa Park in December, and I was like, yeah, this like I was actually thinking Arsenal might have been like having a look, you know, at one point.
I would have been happy to take him in Jan. I
Yeah.
don't know how. Well, he got offered that big money, but yeah, I would if I was Man United, I would have been first in line to get that, not Fenerbahce.
Have you guys seen the United whispers about Calvert-Lewin?
Oh God,
Oh, that's
That
hilarious.
is yes, please.
I thought he was nailed on for West Ham. Injury prone striker. He's got Claret Blue written all over him.
Bonkers one is, right, the other day I said to someone that I actually could see him going to Wrexham. I was like, as mad as that one sounds, but it's like
you got the money.
there's just a vibe of like, yeah, you know, he's shot injury wise. He'd probably take the payday.
Yeah,
I had a weird feeling like that it could be one of those type of ones. There was no substance behind it, like no actual like rumours or anything. It was just a bit of a punt. But the Man United one makes complete sense.
Yeah, it
I think
does a bit. He's got to find his form, though, man. And he's only really a few years ago. I used to be quite a big backer of Calvert-Lewin, and he's only ever really found proper form under Rafa Benitez. Or no, who was the other one? And
Ancelotti.
Ancelotti as well. They're the only two that he's found really good form.
Ancelotti just got him sort of like a lot more. Just look, you just get here, like stay between the posts and play, and that's where he kind of found his best form there. But
Amorim does kind of like that kind of striker as well, though, because that's all Gyökeres really did for him. To be fair, didn't really do an awful lot other than put the ball in the net.
it's just what sort of wages are you going to pay him for how often he'll play?
Yeah, I suppose.
That's the gamble.
No, Man United, it'll probably be about 150.
Oh, yep. No doubt.
Which is bonkers.
Sign him, man. Give him a number 9 shirt. I'll be perfect, man. That's a perfect signing.
Sounds like you're going to drive him there, Samir.
I will drive him there.
Golly. Right, let's get into final stages. Club World Cup. This time next week, it will all be pretty much all be done. The final would have pretty much just finished unless it's gone into extra time. Or have I got my dates wrong? No, I haven't. Yeah, some interesting games. I quite like the draws for the quarters because it didn't. Although one side of the draw looked very Champions League like, the other side of the draw didn't. Which is why I was quite interested to see what would happen from there. And we've got Fluminense Chelsea, which is Tuesday, and then a mammoth tie, PSG against Real Madrid on Wednesday. Some exciting ties, to be honest. I'm a lot more intrigued by Fluminense Chelsea.
Yeah, I'd see that.
I'd agree. Basically in this tournament, any team that's not from Europe, I've found most interesting. They've had the best support, so there's been more crowd in the games. That said, yesterday's PSG Bayern game was mental.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A truly entertaining game. Unfortunately, we've had a horrible injury involved in it. Hope Musiala gets better very quickly and has a full recovery because that was real bad. But the rest of the game was amazing.
Yeah, I thought so too. Just two strong teams, isn't it? Just like end-to-end stuff. Yeah.
And how much we've been raving about PSG and how good they play football. They did it a bit differently yesterday. I felt they got dominated at times by Bayern. And they sat in, they defended well. They gave up very few chances. And they scored some good goals when they got the chance. I thought their second was a ridiculously good goal.
I knew you were going to say that. Because it sounds like the one they scored last week? And you was explaining the goal. And it looked pretty similar, the second one.
But the best that makes it even better, they were down to like 9 men.
That's embarrassing.
They were down to 9 men and they scored ridiculously good goals. Some of the play from Dembele went into him, he touched it off. Vitinha then laid it into Dembele perfectly, who hit the bar, they recycled it. Hakimi mugged off like 3 players, cut it back to Dembele again, and he just buried it. It's such a good goal. That is such a high level football goal for me. I just stood there. It's like incredible.
Yeah. Do you reckon they've got the whiff of successive Champions Leagues about them?
I'd say so.
Yeah, I'd say so. But at the same time, their schedule is crazy. Yeah. They're back again, I think, against Tottenham on August the 13th.
Oh, so an easy pre-season.
There's a gap. It's just like, wow, like here we go. We start football again. Barely any pre-season. We go again. So maybe that could take a toll.
I think that's a big point for. I reckon we'll be having the same conversation about who's out there, who went at Man City and Chelsea. I genuinely think I think even Guardiola quoted that himself. Like, we don't know what's going to happen. I'll let you know in December. We'll either be really good or we'll be breaking down.
Yeah.
It's going to be something we talk about. Maybe like look at all the teams that done it, especially European wise, because such a drain on the players. they can't keep going forever.
Exactly, man.
But from what I gather, I don't think PSG have a pre-season planned.
Gee, that's crazy. That's crazy. This is
But you say it's crazy. They play in the French league, yeah.
oh yeah.
So they can spend the first 6 games trying to get up to speed again.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Like,
They've normally won it with 10 games to go. You know, it's like
yeah. So I'm pretty sure they have got nothing. They've got no games until Tottenham, and then after Tottenham, it's just into the league.
Mm.
it'd be funny if they put the Rezzies out against Spurs, wouldn't it? You know, like still won it.
Yeah,
Be a giggle.
they'll probably still win. I'm not gonna lie. They'll probably still win.
I'm gonna have a quick look now. So yeah, August. Their July just shows Bayern at the minute. They haven't even updated it to show the semi-final. And then August 13th, Tottenham. 17th is away to Nantes. 24th, Angers, and then 31st, Toulouse. And then they've got Lens, Marseille, Auxerre. So they've got 6 games that you wouldn't say are that terrible to start off their season. So I don't think there's anything wrong with them just going, right, as soon as we're out of this, month off, back for Tottenham.
Mm. Yeah. No, it's not the end of the world, to be fair. Especially being in that league.
And let's not sort of beat around the bush. If they just rocked up without training and turned up for that Tottenham game, they could probably still win it.
Wouldn't they have a Super Cup like a Community Shield?
I don't think they have one. A lot of countries don't have one.
I'm sure they do. Oh, but France, I don't know about France, but
if they do have it, it's never normally the first game. It's never normally like the Charity Shield.
oh, okay.
It's normally about 10 games into the season, is it not?
Oh, really?
I don't ever remember seeing like Spanish Super Cups being in August.
Yeah, Spanish Super
am I
Cup.
going mad?
It's in is it not February, March, or some weird thing when they're off and then they go to another country or some shit.
Yeah, I don't remember them being like the last pre-season game like we have over here, which is why they're viewed quite differently in other countries.
Mm. Yeah, it's weird.
I might be wrong on that, but that's just an assumption I've made over the years. I'm surprised Stocky doesn't know from all his Football Manager times.
Mate, why would I manage PSG?
That's what I was saying. You're not managing anyone in that French league.
No. No danger. It's no danger. I'm about the grind.
Making it work the hard way.
Fuck that.
Yes. I'm the opposite of Samir. I want to bring the youth players through. I don't go around buying.
Yeah, don't spend any
That's
money.
fine from the foot of the Scottish pyramid or something. You know.
Right, so what are we saying for these semi-finals? Let's start with Fluminense Chelsea. That's the first one on Tuesday.
I think it goes to extra time.
Ooh, that's a good shot.
I think it's going to go to extra time, and Chelsea will win on penalties, sadly. Although Thiago Silva will be a massive thorn in the side for him.
Yeah.
The lap's going to learn what bruises are.
He's suspended. I think he's suspended.
Oh, is he?
No, weren't Delap, was he suspended for the next one, or weren't he suspended for the last one?
I don't know. I thought I saw a tweet someone saying he's suspended.
How's he suspended? He's only been out there like 4 days. How's he suspended?
Oh, yeah, that's good work. I told you he was a bruiser. I like him.
Jesus.
But I like Thiago Silva.
Someone else is suspended as well. I think Colwell. I think so. They barely got any centre back. So
nice. I'm going Fluminense personally.
I'm gonna go Fluminense after saying that.
I was always going to go Fluminense because I backed from that side. I think it was that side of the draw. I backed Botafogo to get to the final. Yeah. So I've just picked the wrong South American side.
Is it really ignorant, like, as someone who hasn't watched like much to any of this tournament, is it really ignorant to assume like the winner of Wednesday side goes in massive favourite to win the whole thing?
No, that's a pretty solid assumption, to be honest with you, John.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I mean, like, you'd think with the 2 teams in there, but like, yeah. And I think I'm pretty sure which team of those it will be that's in there, but yeah. Like, can anyone see anything other than PSG? Like, or
well, they've got a couple of suspensions now, haven't they?
Oh god.
Yeah. Alonso's been treating this as kind of like a soft launch for his like new Madrid. So like they're starting to go free at the back a bit, and as always, it's Madrid, so they got run. So Rodrigo's doesn't sound too happy at the minute because he's the fall guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
thus
Aren't they
far.
playing like Tushimeni in the middle of a back three?
Yeah.
Yeah. So last season he was having to play as a centre half in a back four.
Mm.
So I think Alonso's thinking, well, if he's
Oh,
already played centre half play him in a free, and he can be the one that can step up.
Step in.
oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So I think that's the plan. Which I mean, I'd suffer it. I'd definitely suffer that. But is it a bit too early to beat PSG in rude form despite the suspensions? Be
Mm.
interesting.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see.
For Real Madrid to have a suspension, what's his name? Was it Housen? Housen got sent off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
last game, so he's missing. He's missing this.
and do they carry on with the kid up front, or does Mbappe start
No, we need to.
PSG?
Yeah, well, I think we need worse than that kid. That kid he's looking real like he's looking like Raul. Like a few players, a few people have said that, and I've seen it as well. He's looking
Over to
real.
you, Stocks.
Raul.
Yeah. Well, actually, Raul's been he's a coach. He's been training him.
Oh, there we go.
Although,
Oh,
although,
Quickly, Samir.
I didn't
uh,
know that.
although
Oh,
he's a bit of a different player. Like he's more like of a proper like an old fashioned centre forward than
yeah,
Raul
the
was.
fox in the
But
box.
to be honest, yeah, more definitely more of an aerial threat.
Mm.
But God dear, you imagine he's finishing and his movement and his game awareness is only going to improve with someone
Yeah.
with that quality.
Yeah.
Feeding him tips. Definitely could be one to watch for the future.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Definitely.
100%. So what have we gone with? You've gone Fluminense as well, Samir.
Yeah.
And then John, and did you both go Chelsea?
Yeah, I've gone Chelsea on penalties.
John's like, I don't care.
It's flip of a coin. I don't want to be the idiot that says it. Like, I've not been watching. Let's just go Chelsea to balance it out. Go on then. Yeah,
There we go.
I'll
So
actually watch them. I probably will actually watch these next few games. But
Yeah.
okay, so we're 50-50 on that one, and it sounds like we're quite heavily PSG in the second tie.
Yeah.
you think so?
Yeah.
Enjoy that final, Real Madrid.
Yeah, we've just put the mockers on that.
Who's suspended for PSG?
Who's what?
Who's suspended for PSG?
The young centre half.
Oh yeah, I thought so.
Pacho and Luca Hernandez.
Oh, so Luca Hernandez came off the bench anyway, so that's not even a starting player, is it?
Pacho is a big one though.
Yeah.
Big season. That's a big.
I
miss.
think, was it Bernardo or Beraldo, the centre half?
Oh yeah, he's good. Well, yeah. Oh yeah, that's not bad then. Yeah, I'd go PSG.
Okay, let's see what happens there. Right, into the main event of the evening. Here we go. Here we go. Stocky, you are in the spotlight this evening. John's all of a sudden just disappeared. Oh no, he's back. Here we go.
Sorry, I should be back, right?
Yeah, you are back. We are going to do a deep
Sorry.
dive into Stocky's life as a West Ham fan.
Yeah.
And we are going to start with here. Number 1, which is West Ham Man United 1-1 draw from 1995. Why is this image number 1, Stocks? Talk us through it.
Well, on my screen it's there we go. Yeah.
I was about to say, what can everyone see above
Yeah.
Apologies.
Nice one. Yeah, so this was the first big West Ham thing for me growing up. So there's a saying amongst West Ham supporters: no one actually chooses to support us; you're just born into it. And that was definitely the case for me because there was no choice. It's like no other football team existed when I was a kid. So my dad was funnily enough, he actually chose to support West Ham. His dad was an Orient supporter, and my uncle, his dad was a Tottenham supporter. My uncle was an Orient supporter. My dad used to go over Orient, and he was like, and he said to his brother, "Oh, this ain't much good." And he goes, "If you want to watch some good football, go over West Ham." So he went over to West Ham, and then it started. My old man was home and away, all up and down the country in the 70s and 80s. I ain't going into no stories about that. But and even my mum supported West Ham. I think in fact in one of the FA Cup finals, she was in the ground. She was in Wembley, and my dad was out somewhere.
Oh, that's quality.
Yeah, yeah. So there was never any choice about West Ham. And like I say, this was the first big moment, a big thing I remember, because going back to '95, I think Man United had already won the Premier League twice on the bounce, and it was between them and Blackburn last day of the season. Rarely West Ham were not leaving it to the last game of the season to stay up. We were mathematically safe, and we just put in a hell of a performance to the Man United. And sort of, it was my first big lesson about what it is to support West Ham. We were so inferior to them, like player for player, ability, fitness, everything. But on that day, we had the desire, we had the fight, and basically just the sheer desire just to fuck up a team who's better than you and spoil their day. I think in later years, Ferguson referred our team ethic that day as obscene. He goes, "I've never seen anything like it. Their desire just to deny us winning the league was unreal." And the man in picture, Ludo McCluskey, had a worldie. Like, he had his own song at West Ham. I ain't going to sing it because I'll save your ears. But like that day, I've been doing my research for this today, and I watched the highlights from that again. And even now, I'm still expecting Andy Cole to score one of like the 17 chances he had that day. It was a mad one, and like I say, that was my first thing of really because this is like as you'll see as we go on, it's a bit of a lifelong journey, like realizing what it is West Ham is to me and what it was before and how I feel. And this was the first big thing, like just doing everything you can, showing the fight and desire. We may not be as good, but we can always battle.
Yeah.
And it was really big for me, and I always remember it. Funnily enough, we had Sky. We only had Sky recently, and I watched it indoors. I watched it at home. Funnily enough, my dad just sodded off. He went down the pub with his mates to watch it, so I watched it indoors with my mum. And it was getting a bit tense because obviously Man United were battering us. And in the end, she went, "Oh, I'm going in another room." And I think she went out and she washed her hair or something, and we got a 1-1 draw. So for years after that, when West Ham were on the telly, we used to try and get her to go wash her hair, hoping that went on for a good few years.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Massively superstitious. So this would have been the 94-95 season, yeah?
Yeah, so Redknapp was managing, and then his son Jamie scored the free kick up at Anfield in the last minute, but because Man United didn't get the win, Blackburn still picked up the title.
Oh, okay. Maybe what I've researched is ever so slightly wrong here.
Why's that?
Because I've got it down as that season you had Billy Bonds as manager.
No, that was Harry
95.
Redknapp. No, so people of my age love. This was Harry Redknapp. This was definitely Harry Redknapp. He actually shafted Billy Bonds to get the job.
Oh,
So
okay.
old school West Ham supporters, so say like my dad, it'd be like, nah, he stabbed Billy Bonds in the back, ain't having it. Whereas a lot of people my age were like, they'll look at Harry Redknapp as the golden years.
Yeah.
Whereas if you go a bit more old school, they'll be like, nah, he stabbed Billy Bonds in the back. And Billy Bonds is like, he's up for us. He's up there, sort of like Bobby Moore, Trevor Brooking. Well, he's got a stand named after him at the Grand. at both grounds. So
Says
yeah,
everything.
yeah,
Fair enough.
yeah. And then going on to the next one. Whenever I played up front, anyway, I always wanted to be number 10. And everyone used to go, "Oh yeah, was that because of Di Canio?" And I used to go, "Yeah, it's because of Di Canio. It's really because of this man on the screen, Big Don Hartson.
Mhm.
Hell of a player." Again, West Ham's really struggling down the bottom. Like, it's a theme that goes on through West Ham, through my life supporting them. Couldn't hit a cow's ass with a banjo. Just never got a goal scorer. And we were really struggling in a relegation fight. And I think, was it January or February? We bought in Hartson and Kitson, and essentially it just saved our season. We got Hartson for 3.2 million off of Arsenal, and overall, he got 33 goals in 73 appearances for West Ham.
Nice. He's still your top Premier League goal scorer for one season, isn't he?
No, I think Bowen and Di Canio had that.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, Bowen's good.
Yeah.
Almost.
But he really, really was the business for us. And funny enough, so he played that season there. Then I watched him in a pre-season friendly over Orient, and he come on, and my old man's like, "Fucking hell, the size of him." He's like, "Me and you could fit in his shorts. He's half a big bastard." And he weren't too mobile, but he knew where the goal was, and he got some great goals for West Ham.
Good player, John Hartson.
Funny enough, speaking of that game, so obviously West Ham playing at Brisbane Road against Orient, and let's say mid-90s lower league football was rather direct, let's say. So Orient keep pumping it up to the centre forwards, and West Ham have brought this kid on, right? Plays at the back, pumping the ball up. So the striker's thinking, "Oh yeah, I'm going to squash him." So Orient centre half pumped up 70 yards. West Ham defenders just backtracked, stuck his heel out like he's going to back heel it, brought the ball down with the outside of his foot, stopped it dead, rolled his studs over it, and just walked out from the back. And that was the first time I got to see Rio Ferdinand.
Wow.
I remember seeing him do that, and I was like, everyone else I've ever seen just heads that, and he's just walked backwards and plucked it, just passed it out. And my dad's like, he's like, "I ain't never seen nothing like that."
Went on to have an half decent career, that kid, didn't
Yeah.
Yeah, he did all
Not
right.
bad.
Yeah, but as with most things, West Ham, it went a bit sour with Hartson. I don't know if you boys remember this, but there was a video of him that got leaked to the Sun, him smashing Al Berkovic in the face in training.
Yeah. Definitely remember seeing that. I remember hearing an interview with someone who said that Al Berkovic is lucky that it clipped his chest before it caught him in the head, because he probably would have took his head clean off his shoulders.
Yeah, it was. I've no idea why it happened. I can't remember, but sounds like football was like the Wild West back then, like in the training ground.
Yeah.
But yeah, great player. But I don't really suppose you can come back from trying to take your teammate's head off in training. And he really did. I don't know if you can find it on YouTube. It'll be proper grady. But I remember seeing pictures of it, like, you know, like the stills on the Sun. It was bad.
Yeah, terrible thing to try and do.
Yeah. But as with most things, West Ham, after being a bit bad, it went a bit good again.
Stayed that way forever and ever. You know?
Yeah, so it ever was, mate. What a time this was to be. So this is our 99 kit, and we won the Intertoto Cup. We're in this kit, and for me, this kit was absolutely iconic. I loved it. It's my favourite football shirt, I think, ever. I remember people that didn't support West Ham having this shirt and the away shirt, which was pretty nice as well. In fact,
Was
someone
it
on
the white one, the away shirt?
yeah, the one that Mark had.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like West Ham usually struggling for relegation, and Redknapp got together a good side, and we went and won the much maligned Intertoto Cup in 1999. It started in something ridiculous like June or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't. It might be a bit before your time, Samir, so I'll have to
No,
explain
I
it.
remember like the qualifying round before the qualifying round before.
Yeah. So you had to win this
Yeah.
to get into the UEFA Cup, and you
Yeah.
had 3 different finals.
Mm.
So I think the year we won it, Montpellier and Juventus won it as well. We beat. I remember watching it on Sky, and it was weird. I'm like, why is it so early? Why are we bothering this? To finish, and in the Intertoto Cup, we actually finished 5th, and we
Yeah.
ended up in that.
Mm.
So it was 3 places for the Champions League, 1 for UEFA Cup,
Yeah.
and then finishing 5th, we got this. And I was a bit like, oh, it seems harsh. Seems harsh. Can you imagine? Well, 5th these days, you get Champions League.
Yeah.
But, we beat FC Jokerit of Finland, Heerenveen from the Netherlands. I looked up their team earlier on, seeing if they had any worldies, but unfortunately not.
No.
I was hoping we might have like a Van Nistelrooy or Huntelaar or something like that, but
No.
nah. And then we went and beat Metz in the final. We lost 1-0 at home, but beat them 3-1 at their place. And they had a very young Louis Saha playing for them as well.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
That must have been around the time we took him. We must have taken them on loan not long after that. Because he did 6 months on loan for us, and then he joined Man United the following summer.
No, they got him from Fulham, didn't they?
Yeah, I was going to say, where's Fulham? Fulham was.
Or maybe Fulham then. He came on loan to us first before he went anywhere else in the Prem.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't.
I think when Fulham came up in like 01, they took him on. So yeah, it's somewhere in that region, though. You're right.
I didn't know he played for Newcastle. That's crazy.
Yeah, we only had him on loan.
Let's not make it about Newcastle. Let's move on.
What happened with Redknapp then? Because was that not Redknapp's last season? Or the following, 99, 2000. Was that not Redknapp's last season? Because it looks like he had a good little run of thing. Finished 8th, 5th, 9th, won the Intertoto Cup, and then
we really did. Well, like this was like as a teenager, this was like the golden period. So like we had Di Canio, we had Sinclair, who's massive. I think he's massively underrated. I love Trevor Sinclair. I think he got like 48 Premier League goals or 47 Premier League goals for West Ham. Like really good, really consistent, and I'm glad he finally got them England caps. I think he went to 2002 World Cup.
Yeah, did he go as like a last minute, like he was a reserve, and then like
and ended up playing quite a bit actually. So we had him, Di Canio, Lomas. Funny enough, that season we'd signed Paolo One-Trot from Derby. And but what made it special for West Ham, or as a West Ham supporter anyway, was the influx of the youth players that were getting into the first team. So I've already mentioned Rio Ferdinand. We had Frank Lampard, who scored out in Metz. Joe Cole came on. And then within a couple of years, you had Carrick and Defoe as well. Yeah. And it was just perfect. So we got players that, well, at the time, Di Canio was a man in demand. We got all these youth players coming through, and you're thinking, maybe we could do something. We're getting the perfect mix of, because if there's one thing that a West Ham player will eat up all day long, it's someone coming through the youth team. It holds a special thing in our heart, does that? And then we had like 3 outstanding players in Lampard, Ferdinand and Joe Cole. Although it went a bit sour with Lampard eventually, but we'll keep it positive for now. And as I say, it seemed like things were going in good, and then we got relegated in 2003. Like, don't hold on anything.
42 points.
Still widely regarded as the best team to go down.
Is that Glenn? Is that Glenn Johnson?
Yeah.
Damn it!
I didn't even add him in my list. I forgot about Glenn Johnson.
The legend.
Yeah. So this is the West Ham team that got relegated. Well, the strongest. I'm not sure how often these guys played throughout the season, but it's like the strongest side they potentially could have put out in the 02-03 season that they got relegated.
On paper, this is crazy.
Do you know Di Canio's on the bench there as well because he fell out with Roda?
Yeah, Glenn Roda. Jesus.
Wow.
So, he's on the right. That's bonkers. But anyway, that's the team we had, and we went down. It's a shame Jack ain't on because the team that finished above us was Bolton on 45. But as he's out in some mad tour of East Asia, like bloody Man United, he don't get to give me jip about it. But that one that I must say, as a teenager, so like always got grief because I think I knew one other West Ham supporter at school. Everyone else was Tottenham, Arsenal, and then the kids that didn't have no personality were Man United and Liverpool. So
just throwing shots at everybody.
It's my spotlight. It's a spotlight. Everyone, don't think you're off the hook yet. So I got a lot of grief, and funnily enough, when we got relegated there, I was at my second home, Wadham Lodge. I was watching the game. I just remember a bloke I didn't even know. He was a Tottenham supporter and he was with all of his mates. And I was like there, head in hands, leant over, like absolutely gutted. And he was laughing. And I'm like, it's when I got the first hint of, football supporters are horrible, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like, I was like how old was I then? I was like 15, 16. Like a man in his 40s just laughing at a kid because he was gutted because his team had just been relegated. And I must say, that was one of the first seeds of I hate Tottenham supporters. Probably, I said
it took you so long, to be honest, mate.
It took you so long.
To get to 17 to realise that you hate Tottenham fans is a long time.
This much.
Actually, we would have been 18 because it would have been 03, wouldn't it? So you would have been 18.
Yeah. I can't say on the pod what I called him, but let's put it like this: his mates laughed at him a long time. weren't very polite. But and so like the roller coaster went. So that was hard. We didn't come up straight away, but then mine and Mitch's favourite, Alan Pardew.
Oh yeah, old Pods.
Pardiola, like he's a ridiculed man these days, and quite rightly. But I hate to say it, he hit the nail on the head with West Ham. I don't know what it was, but we had a thing going with him. So we got up through the playoffs the second time round. I'm pretty sure Bobby Zamora scored against Preston. We got up, and we had a decent team. So we finished 9th in our first season back in the Prem, which back then was a bit groundbreaking. If you come up from the Champo, like you're just happy to just sort of stay up. We finished 9th. We had a team of Rob Green, Matt Upson, Anton Ferdinand at this point, Rio Coca, Everton, Marlon Harewood, Bobby Zamora, Ben Ayoun. And then we
very annoying team.
And then we added to that with Dean Ashton, who was an absolute player. I've already mentioned the West Ham strikers curse. if he didn't get injured,
It would have been class.
he would have been it. I think for both West Ham and England, myself. But sadly, sort of Ashton's fate with getting with a bad injury kind of went a bit like West Ham's that season, because it looked oh so promising getting to coming up from the Championship and getting to an FA Cup final.
Oh.
I was so excited. Funny enough, well, I don't mean to shock you two, but me and Mitch were out on the lash big time that day.
Just to calm the nerves.
I was actually a fully fledged West Ham fan for the day. I was there. I'm pretty sure I wore a shirt. I was singing the songs. I was fully immersed into this cup final.
Can you remember what pub we was in, mate?
We went to the Monkhams.
Yes, we did. Yeah, we actually went to the wrong station. I took us to the wrong station. It was a bit of a push to get there. There was a bit of a jog from Loughton to get down to Buckhurst Hill.
Yeah.
Oh no.
That's a hideous jog as well, in fairness.
Yeah.
Oh my days.
We were both very fit at that point, to be fair.
Yeah.
True.
And this was the next big learning curve for West Ham. Like the song goes, fortune's always hiding, because we had our fair share of luck in this game. So Konchesky had the cross that went in.
Yeah.
Marvelous Carragher own goal. But we still lost. Already, Mitch, I can tell you this is one for you to clip. Even now, every time I hear the name of Lionel Scaloni, who's gone on to win 2 Copa Americas and a World Cup with Argentina, all I can think of is, why didn't he just kick the ball off the pitch? Just kick it off the pitch. The longer it's on the pitch, basically at that time, Gerrard could do anything.
Yeah.
Just kick it off the pitch and he can't do anything. Tried getting as far up the other end as he could. And Gerrard did that in the last minute.
Yeah.
Evil man.
And then the penalties as well, with Ferdinand missing, and you just kind of think, like, I obviously, once I sobered up a couple of days later, just genuinely thought, like, is this the closest I'm going to get to seeing a trophy in my lifetime? As I say, like, fortune's always hiding, like, so close, and like that, it was gone just from Gerrard. From how far was it, Mitch?
It was about 35 yards.
Yeah.
I remember listening to an interview after, and someone asked him about why he shot from there, and he just turned around and went, I just had nothing left. I didn't have legs to run, so I ate it. And I remember, as much as I'm not a West Ham fan, and I said I was for the day, I remember looking around in the pub, and the dejection was like every single person was just like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. That was. I remember dropping, because obviously we'd been bouncing up and down and whatnot. Like the floor was just covered in booze. I just dropped to my knees and oh god, I was just like laying in fucking stale beer, just totally life gone. I was like, I just don't. But at the same time, like I say, it's the lesson. Like it's just a bit West Hammy, really.
Yeah,
just so close, and it just gets away. Like essentially, someone else is just a bit better, and genuinely, yeah. I'm still gutted about it. Nah, like
I get it.
I think I'm processing it, like doing this now. Like earlier on, I was all cheerful. I was thinking, oh, Dean Ashton. Oh. I actually downloaded this year's Football Manager because I was that excited, thinking about Harewood, Zamora, Ashton. And then going on to the next bit, my world got just blown apart. Speaking of Football Manager,
this day, I'm gonna set the scene for this year, because as much as this is Stocky's spotlight, this day is so surreal for me because we all both used to sign both of these on every single Football Manager save ever. And then one day I'm at work, I'm in Lakeside, and I'm flicking. Stop for a little break. I'm flicking through WAP on my phone. So I'll roll back to the preview. I'm flipping on this phone. I'm flipping through WAP. Yeah. And then all of a sudden I come across Tevez and Mascherano signed for West Ham. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? So like I've texted Stock, and Stocky is using this phone. So neither of us have got any real contact to the outside world yet. I'm messaging back and forth, and I'm like, no, seriously, I've just been on my WAP, and it says Tevez and Mascherano have signed for West Ham. I was like, I can't get a picture up, but it says they're signed.
Yeah, you can't get a picture.
And this is where I'll hand back over to Stocks because he can tell it from his point of view. But that is, it was literally mind blown, and it was like, this is Football Manager coming to life.
Yeah.
So, like, speaking of Football Manager, the year before, I start with Corinthians just so I could have these two. Before that, I was Boca, so I had Tevez.
Yeah.
This is how much I love these players. And Mitch saying he was in Lakeside. I was working in the very posh area of Primrose Hill when I was a builder. I was helping the decorators out this day. Funny enough, who were both West Ham supporters. And for the older generation, they'll forever have seared in their mind. And my phone's going, and Mitch, Tevez and Mascherano. I'm like, no way. And he's like, I've looked it up on the internet. It's taken probably 30 minutes. So I'm in this posh house in Primrose. Initially, I was just sitting on the wall watching the world go by. And I was like, I've got to find this out. So I've gone back in the house, and obviously we're building in there. I'm trying to get in the rooms that are closed off to see if I can get their telly on and see if they got Sky Sports News. And I was like, I'm walking around the house going, I don't believe this. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I was like, we're signing two of the best young players in world football. So I think the World Cup previous, they both played for Argentina in the quarterfinal. And like the two old boys, they're like, are they really that good? I'm like these players should be at Real Madrid, Barcelona, Juventus. They're at West Ham. I was losing my mind. No doubt I was losing battery because I was messaging Mitch that the excitement was, I've never felt like it for any transfer, and I don't think I will do again.
Yeah.
It was just sort of the first time football transfers were a big thing to me anyway.
Yeah,
like they were just things that happened. Like they played for someone else, and all of a sudden, like they were there. Oh yeah, great, we got a new player. But this, I had palpable excitement. Obviously, we're texting about. I don't think I'd ever text anyone about a football transfer ever.
Yeah, that shit cost 10p back in the day.
Yeah, a lot.
Try to keep it to 120 characters. So
Exactly.
they had two messages.
Taking out all forms of punctuation to make sure you get more letters in.
Yeah.
Like the world was talking about these two signings.
Yeah.
What is it? The
Genuinely
whole world talking about that.
Genuinely. Like I wasn't really into like sort of the highbrow football media then, so I weren't reading like what top journalists were saying, or I didn't read too much of world soccer then. I would have loved to have seen that article. Yeah, and I was thinking, well, this is it. You know, like we finished 9th last year, got to an FA Cup final, we got Tevez and Mascherano. What could possibly happen? And what happened was West Ham happened. Famously, Pardew did not fancy Mascherano at all. Tevez
He used to play. Was
Hayden
it
Mullins.
Hayden Mullins?
Hayden Mullins and occasionally a bit of Nigel Quasi, John.
Oh my god!
Oh, you skate bastard! Oh, here we go.
Yeah, now you're talking. Yeah, Really didn't rate Mascherano. Tevez didn't speak in English, didn't really play. And then as the season goes on, we were struggling. We were really down in the doldrums. Pardew got sacked. Alan Kirbishley came in. And like literally the fans were just calling for Tevez non-stop. I think he come on and he scored a great free kick against Tottenham. I think we lost in the end, but we're a little bit like, oh, that's a good taste. It really was a good free kick as well. And he just went on a storming run through the end of the season. And in true West Ham style, again, last game of the season, Man United. I think their season was already done and dusted, but Tevez got the winner and won at Old Trafford to stay up.
Yeah.
Which was the last time you'd won at Old Trafford until this season, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, nice fact work, Mitch. But as I say, West Ham happened, and then we got to the fallout of why we actually got them. So when they signed, there was no numbers involved. This was one of them disclosed, transfer fee disclosed. And they were actually owned by a third party called MSI, who was that fellow you mentioned? Kia
Jarabkin.
Yeah. So he was the media face of this company, and they owned the players' registrations in Brazil, and they owned a certain percentage of it. So essentially, we just bought out Corinthians' share of them, so they come to West Ham. It was against some laws that the FA had. We said, no, it's all good, we've bought them outright. It turns out that we didn't. And then the rule was brought in about third party ownership. We were fined 5.5 million, and then through future court arrangements, it went to 15 million to Sheffield United, paid out over several years. So
because it was them that got relegated instead of you, wasn't it?
And they weren't quiet about it at all, were they?
No,
They were very vocal.
Nope.
Yeah, and everything they do wrong since is, I always say, blame Tevez.
Imagine if it happened to Arsenal.
Yeah.
Oh my days. Human. We'll be outside the Prime Minister's house.
Do you know what? You picking on Arsenal just made me think. Before the FA Cup final was Lasagna Gate as well. I meant to chuck that in too. Where Tottenham missed out on the Champions League and they blamed it on the food.
Yeah.
I don't want to pile in too much here, but were you not also the first league team to beat them at the Emirates, or am I making that up?
That is also correct.
West Ham were the last team to beat them at Highbury and the first team to beat them at the Emirates. Bobby Zamora got goals in both games. The one at Highbury, the one where he buoyed off Sol Campbell. Then Sol Campbell went off at half time.
Left at half time.
Never came back. He left the ground.
Next seen in Portsmouth, I believe, wasn't it?
Yeah. Again, another one I watched with Mitch. I think it was at his house. Getting smashed watching that one.
That was quite a theme of that time, to be fair.
Yeah. Great memory, John. Great. You're picking up the things that I missed off my notes. Thank you. Mitch has already done a bit of a pre-spoiler for the next stage. So, two world-class players, all gone to shit, just about stayed up. We get bought out by this man, who was from Iceland. I always fondly look at him as the Icelandic Nosferatu. His name was Egert Magnusson, and he was called Baron because I think that's how he made a lot of his money. And it was like this sort of when foreign investment was still pretty young in the Premier League. well, for me at the time, and this felt all very exciting, and they were very willing to splash the cash even after this Tevez debacle. So we were getting big name players, but at the wrong time, so injury prone. So the ones that always stuck out with me were Dyer and Lundberg, sort of were cracking players,
Yeah.
but they were definitely on the downward curve.
Mm.
It's been a thing with West Ham over the years. We sign all these players from the bigger teams, but we're always getting them on the way down. Another one we had around the time was Bo Morte.
Yeah.
Oh
Sort
yeah.
of things like that. And we're getting players on the downturn. Kirbishley was got rid of. Like it's again another trend with modern football, constantly changing over managers and whatnot. Harry
Wasn't that when
Redknapp,
Gianfranco came in?
yeah,
Yeah.
Gianfranco came in and done really well. But the point I was going to say about managers, I think up until Redknapp, so Redknapp was our 7th full-time manager in our whole history.
Mm.
Wow.
That's the kind of club West Ham were. Promote from within, sort of it's a family, and then sort of slowly we're getting like dragged into the Premier League world of all the got to change, got to do this. And quite rightly, Mitch, you mentioned Gianfranco Zola, who played some really, really good football, but at times we were a bit soft and we conceded silly goals. And again, as West Ham do, we're in a relegation battle, and a couple of players actually knocked on his door and asked, "Will you register for us?" He's like, "I'm 40, I'm a manager now," and they were begging him to register. Like, with you, we'll stay up. Because apparently, in the first training session, he got the ball, he went around 2 people and chipped Robert Green. And everyone just stopped and looked at him, and he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And they're
Didn't need
like
to do that.
knocking on his door, "You've got to play," but he wouldn't do it. But going back to the signings, we had so many stinkers. Again, I'm going to mention the curse. We had Mido up front. We had Ilan. I think we had Diego Tristan.
Oh my god.
We had Mido after Tottenham.
After Tottenham, yeah.
We were having so many bad signings, but there was one beacon of light through the showers of shit we signed. Scott Parker.
Oh really? I didn't expect that.
Mate, Garrett, you didn't expect it, Samir. I was fuming.
Yeah.
I loved Scott Parker at Newcastle,
Mm.
and he moved, and I was raging.
He was a good player, to be fair.
But sorry, Stocks, go on, carry on.
Oh mate, what this man did. Brian Robson was before all our time, but from what I can gather, his will would drag teams through, whether it's Man United or England, and that was absolutely what Scott Parker did.
Mm.
He was unreal. So he got Hammer of the Year 2 times on the Bants, and I think no one had done that for like 20 odd years. So many games, just pulled out the big moments, whether it be goals, he just done everything run through him. He was so good. Obviously we went on to go down even with him.
Yeah,
that was mainly due to after sacking Gianfranco Zola, we brought in Avram Grant. I specifically didn't ask Mitch for a picture of him because I don't know I'm sure John will remember, but he looks like the baddie from bloody Danger Mouse.
I very nearly got a picture
Aaron
of the guy
von
from Danger
Mouse. He still looks like someone you meant to beat to get to another warp room on Crash Bandicoot. It's that type of character.
Yeah. He was terrible. But Scott Parker himself was amazing that season and actually got Footballer of the Year in a team that got relegated. He was that good. And on the Avram Grant vibe, he was actually sacked in the tunnel after the game. by our new owners at the time. And Scott Parker said, no, that's not how you treat someone, because they weren't even letting him on the bus back to London.
Wow.
Scott Parker was like,
Right.
no, that's not how you treat people. And he got Avram Grant on the bus. So,
I didn't even know that.
yeah. So, like, an example on the pitch and off the pitch. But during that season,
Oh my God. No.
as I said, my goodness. Yeah.
Bro.
Tell you what, if we don't get some 80s nostalgia clicks off that, we ain't ever getting it.
Yeah.
That season as well, we changed the owners because the Icelandics, there was a financial crash in Iceland. All the banks were bankrupt. And we were heading to the wall. And when I say the wall, proper the wall, we were going to close operations. We would have not been a club anymore. And in stepped the two gentlemen here. The two David.
Affectionately known as the Dildo Brothers.
Yeah, you've already, mate, you've nipped him before me. Quentin Dildo Brothers.
Sorry, I thought you wasn't going to do it, so I thought I had to.
Absolutely,
On his lips, he was about to say it.
Absolutely, I am, mate. It was on the tip. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember. It was a few years ago now, but I think it was a sporting chairman.
It was,
We
yeah.
were trying to negotiate for, I think it was probably William Carvalho, the holding midfielder. He dubbed them the Dildo Brothers, and it's never going to change. It's never going to change. Yeah, so they purchased us in 2010. They supporters. They were quick to say, like, we're supporters. I'm not so sure about Sullivan. David Gold had legitimate claims to be a supporter, and they really went on with that. They always say they saved us. It was a horrendous business decision. Didn't make financial sense, but they thought it was a chance to come back to their boyhood club. It always been an ambition. And so, obviously, dying on our arse, looking like we're going to close the doors, they came in. At the time, we were warned by West Brom supporters what they were like.
Was it Birmingham, you mean?
West Brom, yeah. Sorry, I meant to say Brom. Yeah. Birmingham.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a bad slip of that.
Yeah, you can't.
It'll make a good clip though, so we'll take that.
It's not gonna be a bit like
Good work.
yeah, like that. Ouch.
Yeah,
Ouch.
I meant to say Brom and said West Brom. Anyways, yeah, all the Birmingham City supporters, wonderful people. They really did. They
Too
really
late,
did.
too late.
Too late. They really did warn us about them. At the time, we were like, we're not hitting the wall. We'll see how it goes. You know, back then, sort of, people owned a club because they used to be from the area. Like, remember the Newcastle owners that went south with Freddie Hall and that?
Yep.
Like local people that own the club.
Hall and Shepherd. Freddie Shepherd
Oh,
it was.
yeah.
I can't remember what Hall's first name was.
Yeah. And I was thinking, well, it's like that. It's not like who's going to want to make any money out of West Ham? Like, hopefully they're here for the right reasons. And to be honest, they saved us. Obviously didn't do enough to save us that year because we were dead man walking, despite Scotty Parker. But yeah, they came into a side relegated, and then that's when things got interesting. Mitch hit the pitcher.
The goat.
Big Sam Allardyce.
When you're in trouble.
Yeah. For me, I thought, well, this is what we need. We need someone like this. We need to get all guys again. We was a shout, like, we played good football at times, but we were a shambles. We needed a bit of Big Sam in, really, and straight away he got in Kevin Nolan from Newcastle, obviously.
Here we go.
Of course.
Yeah. and he's, Big Sam. If anyone likes the sound of their own voice, it's him. He's done lots and lots of interviews about this, and he says in very plain terms, like, the club was in disarray, absolute mess. And I still to this day, I don't think personally he gets enough credit for what he did. Obviously, going down into the Championship, West Ham were like the big hitters, if you know what I mean. But, well, we were classed as favourites, and although we struggled, we ended up going up through the playoffs, which was a great day. I remember watching the final over Hayland Presentation Day, getting absolute pelters from you lot. That was a long old day. I remember celebrating Vazte's winner by throwing a tray of sandwiches over everyone.
No, that's the sandwiches, man.
Dead sandwiches, Samir. You know how bad the
Could have been worse. It could have been the sausages.
Yeah, good.
The Trenton.
Angie's dodgy sausages, burnt on the outside, raw on the inside.
Oh.
Speaking of that playoff final, though, not got a picture for him up, but a big kudos to Colton Cole, because he took a wage cut to stay at West Ham down in the Championship, because he was like a big earner for us. And things like that really resonate. Well, they resonate with any fan base.
Yeah.
But he weren't the greatest player, but he always fucking worked his nuts off. And he's, funnily enough, like earlier on was mentioning Joe Cole. Joe Cole didn't get his own song. Colton Cole did. Like, he done everything he could for the club. And, he didn't have to take a wage cut, but he did. And I just wanted to chuck that in there, because it's small things like that are very important to a supporter. And as we mentioned, like, the game was changing. It was getting a little bit more every man for himself. And it was just a nice little thing from Colton. And that's why he's still loved now. And I love seeing him on the telly. I mean, he seems daft as a brush, but he's a happy, smiley man, and you just can't ask for much more.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to Big Sam, he really installed that siege mentality for us, especially when we came back up into the league. For him, it was textbook, but West Ham hadn't had this for like a long, long time. There was like, we had our fight back. We had some like personality, and any side coming to Upton Park under Big Sam, it was different. There was a battle. You had to earn your points. We weren't going to be that soft touch that we were like Grant, Zola, towards the end with Pardew. We had a bit of personality, and a lot of West Ham supporters always are, we play good football, we do this, do that. I've always more, it's a working class team from a working class area. You've got to earn it. And we had that again with Big Sam, and he was so unapologetic about it. And it rubbed a lot of old school West Ham supporters up the wrong way, because they wanted to play football, but he knew what he had to do. And obviously it ended with a sour note, but I really appreciate what he did. And we went on to, funnily enough, we went on to some good things, but again, another man who didn't get credit because he wasn't the stereotypical West Ham way. But for me personally, we had the attitude, we had the togetherness, which I think is essential for being any sort of half-decent team. And also coincided with, funny enough, the golden age of Twitter. Because I don't know if you boys were on it then, but Big Sam had his own parody account called Not the Big Sam.
I think I was on there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Not the Big Sam. It's hilarious. Like, he ended up doing columns on like TalkSport and things like that. And like,
what, the guy that ran it?
Yeah. So the parody account,
yeah,
he used to like write things for various companies, like freelancing, and there was also the fake Carlton Cole.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Oh, God. And it was just a golden time because then you could say whatever you wanted on Twitter, and it was fun. And it was just a fun time, to be honest. Yeah, I could not let my West Ham spotlight go without mentioning them two because, again, football was changing and social media was becoming a massive part of what people thought and how people's opinions were based. And these two people just love taking the piss and set very well for me because let's face it, if you can't laugh at your own club, you're not in the right position to laugh at anyone else's, are you? Then after Big Sam, we moved on to an emotional time.
We'll get no.
Yeah. Super Slaven Bilic came in for the last season at Bowling, and we had a good team. We had Adrian in goal, Reed, Cresswell, Big Andy Carroll, less so Saka and Valencia, Manuel Lanzini, who had an excellent season, but nothing got close to the man on screen. Oh my word! If I don't really like using this, but truly, he is the best the streets will never forget player.
Oh yeah, 100.
I agree. He's gonna say Ben Arthur, but no,
If you say JJ, no,
it's definitely Payet. It's definitely Payet.
I'll talk about Payet, and then I'll say why I think he will be the best one. But
I like the. I know he's gonna say Ben Arthur, and I like that. I like that shout. But what I saw from this guy was different.
I must admit, didn't know too much about him. And a couple of games into the season, West Ham were playing Newcastle. So me and Mitch, again, another recurring theme, we popped down the pub to watch it. And it was at Upton Park. And Payet scored one of his worldies. I remember the ball got cut back to him outside the D. He just opened up his hips and just side-footed one right in the top corner. And I was like, hold on. We've got a player here. And Mitch, after the general annoyance of losing to West Ham, was a bit, yeah, he looks fucking good, doesn't he?
Hater.
Yeah. In some ways, it was the perfect storm. Because Payet is a very just cut from a different cloth. He played the game not on any plane that we'd seen before for West Ham anyway. Like very Di Canio, kind of Di Canio-esque, but even Di Canio was more of a team player than Payet. He was just doing it all by himself. He was amazing. The vibe around West Ham was bananas because obviously this curtailed with the last season at the Bowling. We had Slaven Bilic as manager, so former player. And Payet was just doing it week after week. So just on him alone, I had so many things written down what he'd done through the season. So that year I went to Australia for 3 weeks for a mate's wedding. Got out there, landed, get to the first place. Like, oh, your room's not ready. Do you want to go in the bar, watch TV? I was like, all right then. Had the Palace game on at Selhurst. Won the show, sat the keeper down on his ass, dinked it over him. I'm like, oh, unreal. You had the Man United free kick away in the FA Cup from it was 30 yards out or something. And De Gea, who was top of his form then, got nowhere close to it. Just such an outstanding season. Still wrangles a bit that we didn't get Champions League football that year. We ended up finishing 7th with a certain South Coast team finishing 6th, Joe.
And no one will ever remember the fact that the two of us were so in touching distance to Champions League football because of what Leicester did.
How the hell did you get
so,
that?
It is what it is.
Yeah, but that year, just unreal. And for the first time ever, it felt like West Ham had one of the best players, most informed players in world football at the time.
Yeah.
The only downside with it was everyone copied that song we sung.
Yes.
And it kind of become a stain on British football.
Obviously, what the Salah one's become now.
What song's this? I'm confused
Yeah,
now.
I'm confused.
We've
Which
got
one?
Dimitri Payet.
We got yeah.
P.I. Just don't think you understand.
Oh yeah.
And it changed to bloody Ozil,
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Dele Alli.
Yeah.
Like every club had their own version of it, and you're like,
But like the last kind of like year, 18 months, everyone's been doing it with the old like LA and all that as well. Like every club seems to have one. It's like, all right.
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember that.
And that's why I just thought he was just head and shoulders above anything. And like I say, it felt like West Ham had a player that was ready for the world level, and that's why I'd put him in that top bracket on Streets We'll Never Forget. It was brief, but it was a hell of a good time.
Yeah.
Yep, fair enough.
Yeah, it was. It's annoying to watch.
Yeah, well, I'm sure. And again, it felt a bit like we ain't going to keep him for long.
Yeah.
Did he go straight to Marseille from West Ham?
Yeah. That he wanted to leave. He had to leave for family reasons. There was rumours what he got up to outside of football. I'm sure you can work that out. And it's not been good for him since he's been in Brazil either.
No.
So, yeah, we'll leave that there. But that season, obviously, as I've already mentioned, was the last season at the Bowling. And I know Mitch has got one of my favourite West Ham pictures ready. Winston
Reed, yeah.
scoring the winner. As a little before I get into that last game, which was mad for me, I had tickets to go to the last 3:00 Saturday kickoff at Upton Park. Very excited because I'd won a competition at Hale End, and I could pick any 2 tickets in a Premier League season.
Oh,
And I was like, well, I ain't going to get the last game of the Bowling. There's no way I'll get my hands on them. So I went for the last 3 p.m. against Swansea. And the person that donated them to the club had to move heaven and earth to get these tickets. Over the odds.
Oh, you're glitching a bit, Stocks.
I thought it was me. Everyone looked like they froze. You froze. I was like, oh.
I paused because Stocky had frozen. It was like, oh no, we're going to lose him. We're going to lose him. Seems we've lost him for the minute. I'm still trying to figure out what Winston Reed's doing here.
I know.
It looks like he's mid long jump, innit? It's like, how has he landed this and not hurt himself?
There's no fist pump. There's like,
Sorry about that, lads. My internet went funny.
Good to have you back. We was just discussing what the hell Winston Reed's playing at in this picture. It looks like he's doing a long jump. How's he landed that without breaking his leg?
Mate, emotion and vibes that day.
Yeah.
So where did I get to my story before I cut
out?
Blokes moved heaven and earth to get you the tickets.
Did I say the free tickets? I won the tickets.
Yeah.
We got to literally, he moved heaven and earth and then it cut out.
Yeah. Moved heaven and earth. Lost 4-1 at home to Swansea at the last 3 p.m. at the Bowling. Absolutely stunk the place out. I've never seen so many empty seats in a football ground.
That is very West Ham, isn't it?
It was horrendous. Because obviously I took my dad, and he was like, I think he'd given up at 3, and he was like, "I'll see you outside." I was like, "Well, this is the big send off. Oh, great, we've got Man United next. That's going to be even worse." So like it comes to the date, very big build up on Sky for this. It was on all day, weren't it?
Yeah,
Did any of you
I
boys
remember.
watch it?
Why do I remember? I
No.
remember this game. I do. Yeah.
It's remembered because basically the entire of East London was banged out because everyone went. If you didn't have a ticket, you still went.
Yeah, I remember watching on TV.
And the Man United bus couldn't get there because the streets were so packed. They just thought they'd just rock up at the usual time, and the streets were packed, and everyone was battered.
Mm.
So where they're
kickoff
tooting,
was
trying to
nice.
get through people, they just started lobbing bottles at the bus.
It was an evening game, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it was
Yeah.
supposed to kick off at 7:45.
Yeah, I remember
It
this
didn't
game.
kick off till gone 8:15.
Wow.
Yeah. So it just built and built and built. Obviously, I weren't there. Funny enough, I was going on holiday the next day. I had like a 7 a.m. flight from Luton, so I couldn't even go down the pub. Yeah, yeah. I was watching it indoors, and I kind of wish I would have given a lot to be there. That last song of Bubbles at the Bolian, I won't even try and describe it. It's just one. If there's any West Ham supporters watching, just go watch it again on YouTube because it's just amazing. I'm doing my research for this. I saw Don Hutchinson was there on the day, and I found a tweet of him just videoing it, and just like off someone's camera phone in the ground, it just gives me shudders. It was amazing. And then luckily, we provided the storybook game to go with it. I mean, it was a little bit Hollywood script, like 1-0 early lead through Saka. Obviously, it's Man United and they're a fucking good side, unlike that.
Yeah.
So they were 2-1 ahead. Antonio gets a header, then our man here, Winston Reid. I still say De Gea should have really saved it. He had a bit of a mare. But yeah, unreal. As I said, I was watching it indoors with the family. When that goal went in, the noise was so loud. Neighbours from both sides, and I think one door further down, knocked on the door because they thought something had happened. It was that loud. Yeah, crazy. The emotion that night, it feels so silly, but at the same time, it was the closing of a chapter, and it was just so perfect. And again, something about Man United on the last game of the season with West Ham, and yeah, it's just a special night. And
Oh, we've lost him again.
I was about to say, ask him about how it feels to be out of that stadium compared to now.
Have either of you managed to go to the new ground?
Yeah, I've been there a few times.
No, what? That's crazy.
I've been there. To be fair, I've been there before.
not again.
Yeah, no.
Damn it.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about like what does that ground like mean to you? Obviously,
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
funny enough, right? Or I'll swap the next couple of bits round. Then it's a good question, and I'll change it slightly. So, as we've probably guessed, like I am West Ham through and through. They're my team; they always will be. But I was always more interested in taking part in football.
Yeah.
So whether playing or going on to manage, that was more important for me than going and watching, even though it's West Ham.
Yeah.
So I'd only been to the Boleyn not even 10 times.
Okay.
And even then, I didn't first go there until I was about 15, 16. So when my dad was the season ticket holder, there was a certain manager and he didn't like the way he played football. So he gave the ticket away. He's like, I'm not watching this shit. Then obviously life happened and we could never go. He couldn't afford it. then when I got old enough to afford it, I wanted to go out and play football because
Yeah. Well,
that
I get
means a lot more to me.
mm.
So I didn't really go, but everything about that place, well, it was just tradition. We all of us on the pod tonight, we all grew up in the East End.
I brought a tear to Stock's eyes.
That's probably not the exact one, but on a quick search, that's all I could get.
That is
Yeah.
nice. That's nice. I do like that. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't get to go that much because when I was little, couldn't afford it, and then when I was older, I wanted to play football and be involved.
Yeah.
But that lead me up to my next chapter. And I'm just going to hold fire on that because that season, funnily enough, after the game, there was this big presentation thing, which the Dildo Brothers, it was so tacky. It was so tacky. It really had a downer on the night. And another reason, something else they'd done that was tacky as well, was filming that bloody shit film after we'd left the ground, Final Score with Dave Bautista.
Oh
my God. Where Tony Cotti gets shot. Oh my God.
I haven't even seen that.
Mate, it's so bad. It's so
Flipping hell.
bad. Yeah.
No, it's
So
quality.
we left, and for the film, the ground like gets taken over by terrorists and it gets blown up. So all of our years of history and the great players that have played there, that amazing last night, and it got blown up for a fucking Dave Bautista film.
That's what we remember of your stadium.
That's amazing.
You know what I mean?
What a way to go out.
I know.
My God.
Ain't this the reason like Triple H is a West Ham fan
oh my
or something
God,
like
it's
that?
A big West Ham fan as well.
Yeah, like Triple H is meant to be a West Ham fan. It has nothing to do with that film. Right.
It was his idea.
Yeah.
That is bonkers.
Yeah. Anyway, cheer myself back up. Let's talk about Mr. West Ham. Because I left him off that list earlier on.
From
the last season.
Okay.
From the last season of the bowling. Jeez. He's a very, very special player for me because he was there for donkeys. He played under, I think, got picked first team player for 8 different managers. Got 550 appearances. Was there through the good times, the bad times, come through the academy. I think he'd been at the club since 9. Funny enough, I think he was first on Arsenal books as a kid. And West Ham won him. And obviously he was from Canning Town and a West Ham supporter. So it was only ever going one way. Well, obviously I am so biased, but I don't care because it's my spotlight. I think he was underrated generally. In the end, he was sort of laughed at for always being West. Well, it felt like to us, he was always being laughed at as, oh yeah, Mr. West Ham, like it's only West Ham. But he was excellent, like really underrated technically. I think if he was a bit quicker or a bit bigger, I reckon he would have got them England caps. And when you consider some of the dross that had played for England, I always found it a bit harsh. But for West Ham, he was nothing but top notch. Like, he lived every fan's dream. Captained the club. Captained it well. Like, I've heard so many stories. Like, I caught one thing on I found it on Twitter yesterday. Like, Jesse Lingard saying, like, when he was at West Ham, like, he was always on his phone and things like that. And Mark Noble was like, no. Like, he got in Mark Noble's car, drive him to training or something, and he got his phone out. And Mark Noble was like, no, we have a conversation. We don't do that. Things like that and small things. So, like, he set examples on the pitch. He set it off the pitch. Just a real totem pole. And I think it's a hole we've never managed to fill since he retired.
Yeah, I agree.
To add to your point there, Stocks, as well.
Yeah, you don't get players like that, and like you say, to play for your boyhood club to distinction, like 550 appearances in Premier League times.
That's a lot, honestly.
What did you say?
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, just to add to that, my mum basically worked with someone whose son worked at West Ham at the time, and it literally backs up everything that you're saying, because like the first-hand accounts coming from there were just that he was a top bloke, and like he really went out of his way to like get to know people that worked within the club, as well as just being like a presence amongst the players as well. So he genuinely was like a club man in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think Stocks can hear me, actually.
Yeah, can you not hear John, Stocks?
No.
Oh,
I hope he's not asking me a question. That's what I'm saying here, dumbfounded.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I've got two translators.
Get a silence on.
So basically, he was saying his mum knows someone whose son worked at the club, and he always said that Mark Noble was going out of his way to help people, and he was a top bloke. Just in summary, basically, yeah. So that backs up what you were saying.
Oh, thanks, John. No, like, even though I can't hear you, thank you. Lads.
He also said fuck West Ham, and yeah, you should just burn the whole club. He did say that as well.
I could not co-sign that.
Don't start me off, genuinely, as we're on the thing, obviously one of you two will have to answer for John as well. What did you boys think of him as a player?
I always thought he was a very decent player. So I used to work with a West Ham fan called Pete, and he didn't like him. And at the time when you had Payet and he was doing all of his magic stuff, I was like, just watch how many times Mark Noble gives him the ball.
Yeah.
How many times he picks it up from the defence or he wins it back and it goes straight into Payet's feet. Just watch how many times he does it, and that will tell you how good of a player he is. And I'll guarantee you that when Payet leaves and you've got another player who is not as good, but is probably your most creative attacking player, Mark Noble will find that guy as well every single time he gets the ball.
Yeah.
And you might not like certain things he does, but he facilitates a lot of what everybody else does. And he is also a very accomplished footballer in himself as well. Because it wasn't like he was getting it and dribbling it 5 yards. He was like zinging it into his feet, like 20, 30 yards, breaking lines. And yeah, I rated him quite highly.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with what Mitch said. I thought, for me, he was like, in terms, he was like a warrior, and like I saw a way more consistent games from him than like any bad ones. To be fair, I couldn't like pick out any bad games that he really had. And in the middle of the park, I thought he was like a warrior for West Ham, and West Ham fans loved that about him. He's always, tackling, always in challenges and stuff like that. And I think that's what you guys really loved about him more, because West Ham fans never stopped speaking about him, and it made you like watch the player even more. And you got it with him. Like, you couldn't really say anything bad about Mark Noble.
Yeah. I'd say pretty much. He was more or less like a platform. Basically, a bit like what Mitch said. Basically, like a platform for other players to go and do like be able to go and do there and do the things that they did. I guess I'll keep it quick because Stocks can't hear me. So
yeah, John pretty much mirrored what I said. Stocks just saying he was a platform for everybody else to go and do all the good stuff going forward.
Well, as you say, sometimes things like that get passed over, don't they? Especially when you had someone doing like what Payo was doing. On a side note, the geezer just inside from Payo that year had an amazing season, and that was Lanzini.
Yeah, that was a good one as well. To be fair, a good player.
Big fan of Lanzini. Yeah. So I was about to say the doors got closed on Upton Park. The ground got blown up at Upton Park for Dave Bautista. And then
You was only meant to blow the doors off.
That's an
Final score.
That's an interesting impression. Then we get to it. The elephant in the room.
Oh, it was beautiful. Hey, I never really looked at it like that. It's a beautiful
Before
thing.
I go any further, I've got to give it its legal name.
The Olympics.
It's Doom Bowl East London Soccer Franchise FC Bowl.
You what? What? It's like you what?
Right. I'm very split on this. I had to have a whole section just about this place, and then we can have our little séance and we can see John's opinions about it as well, because I'm pretty sure he's been there a couple of times as a away supporter.
Yeah. Just before you go on, John, everybody else can hear you. It's only Stocky that can't hear you, by the way.
Yeah, no, I know.
John, have you been there?
Oh, a few times. Many
What's
a
it
time.
like on the other side, John?
He said a few times.
So I applied for season tickets at West Ham. I think it was either the penultimate season at the Bowling or the last season, and I got a ticket in the second season there. I got my season ticket. So as I say before, I really went through money and playing football, and I'd always wanted one. Like, it's my team, and I could afford it. Obviously, there's and quite right, there's the problem about the taxpayer element of this stadium, and I personally, it stinks as a taxpayer. Like, so if anyone don't really know, everything there is run by the taxpayer. So from security staff to pitch maintenance, it is paid for by the LLDC company that sort of just own the stadium, and they're part of the government that owns it. I think West Ham get the money for tickets and at the club shop, and everything else goes back into the company. I think we pay like a smallish rent of like 1 point. It started off at 1.5, and then there's a percentage increase every year. Yeah, it wasn't very good. But initially, West Ham had actually agreed to take it over lock stock, and that was scuppered by a certain Daniel Levy. They'd put in a bid for this stadium as well, and their proposal was to knock it down and rebuild it because it wasn't fit for purpose as a football stadium. West Ham were going to keep the running track as like a 2012 legacy, and then we became the preferred bid, and we'd agreed it. But I think our bid was done in joint with Newham Council, and then we had a loan from Newham Council as part of the initial costs, and then that was brought up by Levy, and there was a court case around it. You know, like was it the CAS or just some legal thing? And we had it agreed that we were going to have it, and then that's when we come to this loan thing. Yeah.
Can I pause you there for a second? So wait,
Yeah.
Tottenham were gonna come here.
Yeah, they'd put in a bid.
And you stopped
West,
it.
no, well,
No, they
we
got
didn't
their
stop.
bid didn't get chosen. The West Ham got chosen over the
Yeah,
Tottenham
exactly.
bid.
So you got in the way of this. You
Well,
stopped that stupid team from moving
well,
out of North
what
London.
what I w- mate, you can't possibly talk about where North London is because
I
you
know, I
can't.
know, I know.
Anyways, no, all Tottenham were doing was bidding here so they could get leverage over Haringey Council. That
Okay.
was the whole thing.
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah. All
And
right.
so to get that leverage, they
Yeah.
messed up West Ham's agreement to have the stadium lock stock, and that's when we come into this renting it business.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm. It's difficult because I'm biting the hand that feeds, but it's not good. Generally, it's not good. And it caused problems. It really did because Upton Park was our tradition. It was our life. We're talking great great grandparents, grandparents, mums, dads, kids. They all went through Upton Park, and it was gone like that. And we were sold big dreams, and it didn't really transpire that way. And it really caused a problem in the fan base because after that first season, a lot of people that were Upton Park were like, "Oh, I don't fancy this." People you'd grown up like you, who you sit with, they're all in different parts of the ground. And as I'm sure anyone that have been there to attest, although I sit quite high up and I quite like it, but for anyone that wants to be close to the pitch, you're not.
Mm.
Um,
Oh, yeah,
and, it
yeah.
was, and essentially, Upton Park was a ploy for winning. Over the years, we've been utter crap, but Upton Park, for some reason, you always had a chance. It was a bit of an equaliser. You dragged teams down, whether it was the crowd, whether it was the tightness of the ground.
Mm.
Um, you could be poor, but there was something about that place and West Ham. Things could happen, and we've lost it at this place. We had no fear factor. It was comfortable for visiting teams in the start, and yeah, it was horrendous. Um, and this is when the problems with the board really started brewing. They had a tagline of when we moved there, we were promised a world class team in a world class stadium. And them first few years, it was absolutely not. If anything, it was toxic. Like the atmosphere in there was horrendous. Um, I think Mitch has got a picture for this. Yeah.
Mm.
I don't know if you've seen this, Samir, but this is a big thing for West Ham supporters.
Yeah.
People were getting onto the pitch and protesting, stole a corner flag and stood in the middle of the pitch with the corner flag raised in protest.
Oh,
Um,
mm.
and this is where I'm extremely convicted. I've conflicted. Sorry, I've only got a season ticket because we moved to that ground. If it was at Upton Park, I probably wouldn't get one. I'd get the odd game on general sale, but I wouldn't have a season ticket. But even I can't deny that we lost a lot, lot of our soul moving to that place because West Ham is just synonymous with Upton Park,
Yeah.
and we traded it in for this, and we was given grand promises that, to an extent, weren't delivered. Yeah, and like I said, I can never remember the name of this bloke. But he was quite infamous, and obviously he's banned now, but he's probably delighted about it.
Yeah.
But funnily enough, our good friend Sam Hargreaves was at this game in the Burnley end, and obviously they found it utterly hilarious.
No, of course he did.
Yeah, he finds anyone's pain hilarious. But it was every game, it was like simmering. And you got some people like, oh, this is terrible, this is terrible. And other people would say, well, you've got to get behind the team. And like we were arguing amongst ourselves half the time. It was it was really uncomfortable. I'm gonna have to speak for my interpreters for John. Did he go over there in the early days, or what's his experience like at the ground?
Okay, so yeah, one of your first home games, I remember being there. First time we got to go there, and we rolled you over 3-0. And it was quite a rare experience because I never actually saw you beat us at the old Upton Park. Sorry, I never saw us beat you at the old Upton Park. So yeah, that first time I really got the vibe because it was like we were 2-0 up in relatively well, I think by the start of the second half, and what you said about the empty seats, it was like huge amounts of empty seats by like 60 minutes. And this is sort of like 7, 8 games into the season. It's not sort of like it's not that far in. So it's you could tell the atmosphere there was choking it from the start. My personal opinion of it as a ground is it can't touch Upton Park as a supporter. It's an absolute faff to get to the away end. I could rant about that in more detail when you can actually hear me, basically. But yeah, I think definitely in the early days, like my first experience over there wasn't one. Well, it was positive for me. It definitely wasn't a positive for West Ham fans.
Yeah, so basically said he never saw a win at Upton Park. He never went and saw a win at Upton Park, but he was there when Southampton beat you 3-0 quite comfortably, not long after you moved to the new stadium after being 2-0 up by pretty much half time. And yeah, not so positive for you guys, but quite
A lot of
positive for
empty
him.
seats.
And lots of empty seats.
And the walk around to get to the away end, it went.
Yeah, to be fair, it is a fair slap from the station. But anyone that went up Upton Park, it wasn't the funnest place to get to either.
Fair.
Yeah, and this was when our whole board protest really started to gather momentum. Wasn't very organised at the time, but as I say, the feeling was mutinous down there. Team was poor. It was typical West Ham, like trying to find a superstar, and we're just throwing money at players that are not working. There's no joined up thinking. Squad was all over the shop, and as always, you've got your linchpin in there in Mark Noble. There was a young up and coming footballer that looked all right. We sold him a couple of years ago. I don't know if he's gone on to win anything.
But I was still on that one. Then I just realized, wait a minute.
Yeah,
wait a minute.
Do you know what? I wasn't going to say it, but the fact it took you a little while to
Yeah, I was like, wait a
minute.
We went to a bit started laughing. I was like, okay,
God,
this one's close to home.
Nah. Anyway, to be honest, we was in a genuine mess. The Pellegrini, I'll call it the experiment, worked terribly. It started off good, but we were a poor side. And as always with West Ham, it was only going one way, and that was Dan and quickly.
Before you move on, while we're talking about managers, this is John, a reference for John. So basically, he's saying that about the West Ham way. Okay. It's a little bit like the fishing trip story in Gavin and Stacey. There's a lot of people that reference it, but no one actually knows what it is. And then he kind of follows that up by saying, "Is there a manager that you've had that's been sacrificed for not playing the West Ham way that you think should have been given more time?"
Yeah, and we're absolutely getting to that.
Yeah,
don't you worry, John. Yeah, absolutely. I kind of mentioned it earlier on with Big Sam. I think, if anything, that had run its course, but he had a rough time because he didn't play a certain way. And I'm gonna lean on the West Ham way a bit in the end. But this is the perfect. To be fair, John's question's kind of perfect to bring up the main man. Go for it, Mitch. Before I go into anything too much, I would sum his second time up at West Ham the biggest thing he did for our club is that he made us forget that our owners sold our soul.
Oh, okay.
I must admit, I didn't fancy him on his second appointment. I was like, what are we doing this for? We had him, we got him pedigree, he's tried something else, and now we're going back on it. I don't see the point. I was very confused. A step backwards, no, because as I say, we were heading for relegation, and it was like, all right, we'll get a steady pair of hands in just to make sure we stay up. Like there were good enough players there. I think we had Anderson, Anatovic, obviously Noble, Cresswell, like some good players. And all right, well maybe it'd just be the steady hand to get us through. And it turns out I'd done him a disservice, and he proved a lot of us wrong. He throughout the next few years, he provided times that I didn't think I'd see at West Ham. And like, so we stayed up, and then it was the start of the COVID issue time era, whatever we're going to call it. And in some ways, credit to him. He went in and he'd done what he wanted to do with the team. And I think at the time it helped that it was COVID, because there wasn't that expectation and that anger from the crowd affecting the game.
Yeah.
So as much as a crowd can be positive to a team, absolutely it can be negative too. If you watch any game and say like the home team's holding on, like they're winning 2-1 and they're holding on, and the crowd's nervous, and it kind of transmit to their performance on the pitch.
Yeah.
Our anger, and I felt as a supporter, our anger and rage at the situation in general was getting to the pitch, and I think it had an effect on the team. Some would disagree, but I thought it was a factor because there was an atmosphere constantly at that ground. So COVID was all behind closed doors, and Moyes really got a tune out of the team. We were fitter, we were motivated. We were organised, and ultimately we were united, and nothing shows it more than this picture. I don't like using this word, and I hope the missus don't watch this because she's going to rip into me. But at this time, West Ham had vibes.
We hope she does.
Nah, she's got better things to do. Listen to me. She has to deal with this all the time. She don't want to watch it again on a Sunday night.
Welcome back, Junior to Wijnaldum late in the evening.
Oh my God, what a name. Big shout out.
Yeah. Returning from last week. Big up.
Nice one, mate. This was a special time. We were a team again. It felt like we was a proper football team. And you don't get things like this when there's not something good happening at your club. There was a real togetherness. Like, by the way, I didn't really have this in my notes, but that whole Lingard thing, like, what a shot in the arm. Like, Moyes really wanted him, and he got him.
Yeah.
That was a real catalyst for that season. We were something different. Like, obviously, we was playing how people would think a Moyes team would, like, men behind the ball, like, keep it tight. As long as you don't concede, like, more than one, you're always in the game. And then with Lingard, we just had so much pace and energy and hitting people on the break. And we were really, really exciting to watch as a team on the break.
Yeah. The weird thing is about that is that it was complete correlation to ours as well, because we got Joe Willock at the same time on loan, and he was an absolute revelation. Like, he went on, I think he scored in 9 games on the trot, set the record for the most Premier League games scored on the trot for Newcastle. It was just like, well, joint it with Shearer, but yeah.
Was it a loan?
Bonkers.
I thought we
Initially, it was on loan. We signed him the summer coming up to
after-
the. We signed him. I think we got him on loan in Jan, and then we signed him in the summer, and he was unbelievable across the same period of time as Jesse Lingard was for West Ham.
Yeah, just everything was a breath of fresh air. I think I was truly excited. Like, you know, when, well, it's a bit different to me because Arsenal are generally always all right, but Mitch would know, and John will as well. Sometimes you really get a vibe about your team are headed in the right direction, and sometimes a result really encapsulating it. And although I didn't ask Mitch for a picture of it because I watched it about 12 times earlier on. Oh, that's a great stat.
How the hell does he? How does he know that?
Hey,
like that
us
quick as
Newcastle
well.
fans are very passionate about the team. Don't worry about that. We remember these things.
I'll show you all the pictures that Al's Twitter gets of flights going in and out of Newcastle. They are fanatic.
Yeah. We are the goats of Flat Watch.
Yeah.
I think we were creeping up as well.
We're unbelievable. A link will go out, and within an hour, we'll figure out when the flights are leaving whatever city they're in at the time. Not what city their club's in, the city the player is in at the time, coming into Newcastle to see if we can track it.
It makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah, as I was saying, a feeling when your team's going the right way, and nothing encapsulated it like that Tottenham game where we were 3-0 down with 10 minutes to go and Lanzini gets that one on the top
that banger.
That was with. Was that in lockdown? Or was that with fans?
Yeah.
Why
We're
is
still
that
in
not
lockdown.
that's not in the intro. Why is that not in the intro?
No, wait, was that. I thought there was fans.
Nah, it was lockdown because it was quiet and all you could hear was the echo of the West Ham players and the staff running up the touchline, just seeing Spurs heads hanging.
Please. When I picture that goal, I picture fans. No, that is crazy.
Yeah, that was lockdown, and so
I remember that.
playing against the local rivals, 3-0 down, and we were dreadful. We were so bad. And that Lanzini goal was an absolute screamer.
Ridiculous.
And like, we were a team transformed. So going back to the stadium, our team was the total opposite of what it was when we'd left. And it was exciting to go back.
When did you finish in the league that year? Because it was that exciting. I remember you being so good, but I can't remember the finish.
Yeah, I think we were maybe 7th. We were sort of 6th, 7th. We were knocking on the door for 5th. We finished just short again, much like
we talking 2021 or 21-22. 2021 was 6th. 21-22 was 7th.
Yeah, and that was the season we got into the UEFA Cup off that 7th, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, during lockdown, the team grew, Moyes grew, and we came back very infused and excited because we had an exciting team. And although, as John mentioned,
it's not even just Newcastle knowledge. That Lanzini goal.
Yeah,
he's on it, man.
That's what I'm saying. He's good. He's good. We ain't knowing none of that.
He has to come on the show. We're gonna like a bit of this.
He told us Bell played. We didn't know any of that. I was confused about that.
You know what? I was fully aware Bale played, but it didn't matter because he was just I think I was giving it some because obviously he came on and we scored 3.
Yeah,
because he always scored. He used to score bangers and bangers against us at Upton Park. But
yeah. I mean, one of the goals.
Yeah, we came back after lockdown.
Oh.
I swear, like Mitch, when he does that, you look like you're frozen as well. I feel like
That's true.
Because I just stopped for a second and think, is that me? Is that Stocky Gun? I've got to gauge it for a minute before I jump in, just in case it catches up and runs back in.
I swear, I have a slow heart attack. I'm just like, wait.
I've got to make sure I don't jump the gun.
Oh, that is funny. That is funny.
Oh, I don't know why that Lanzini goal's not in the intro. You know,
honestly, it's one of the best
surprised
goals.
Stocky didn't call me out on that instantly.
Honestly, one of the best goals.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, we looks like we've got you back, Stocks.
for a bit.
Yeah. We we had one game at home.
No, you're bare jittery still.
Mm-hmm.
Your internet's moving crazy, mate.
Oh right, sorry. I was saying I would have put forward a different West Ham goal for that. Hello.
Oh yeah, we've got you back now.
Well, we got you.
Yeah, as always.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There was
I don't know
actually
if he's.
another goal I prefer against Tottenham, and that was Obiang.
Oh yeah, that was an absolute banger as well. To be fair.
In the same game.
No. Was it the
No.
same game? That was another late
No,
equaliser, though, wasn't it?
No, that was a 1-0 win when Tottenham was still playing at Wembley.
Ah.
Oh, I do not remember that game.
Oh, mate, it's a rocket.
Yeah. I remember the name, but I don't remember him scoring.
Absolute rocket.
Yeah.
We were dreadful that game. I think that might have been our only shot.
Yeah, it was worth about 10 the way you hit it. It was a rocket, mate.
Yeah.
When we came back, there was one game that really sticks out in mind that I was allowed to call it the Soccer Bowl at this point. It wasn't the Doom Bowl. We played Liverpool, and I think they'd won the league or they were going on to win the league, and we absolutely smashed them. We only won 3-2, but it was a hell of a game, and the noise in the place was unreal. Player all three of us will have at least known, and me and Mitch definitely played with, was our mate Chris.
Oh yeah.
Chris, and he was actually at that game with his fiance because she's a Liverpool supporter, and he was like, from everything I've heard in like sort of UK football culture, he's like, that's what I expect West Ham to be every time at a home game. He goes, it was unreal, it was so loud, and everyone was so excited. We had a team to bounce off. We weren't concerned about the stadium's crap or it's not Upton Park, it's not this, it's not that. We had all our focus on a really exciting, lively, united, battling team.
Yeah.
It was so exciting. And then, obviously, as Mitch says, he gave us the league positionings and we got into Europe from there. And then, really, the first season in the UEFA Cup, I didn't think I'd have nights like it with West Ham. Like, I was so excited to go there. Despite all my complaints about this stadium, I was excited to go there for European football.
Yeah.
And it weren't like the teams I mentioned earlier on in Toto.
Yeah, Mets and
Yeah. To another degree, I didn't mention this earlier, but I went to the first West Ham game at the London Stadium, the first competitive game, and it's where we lost to the famous internet meme Astragugu.
Oh, yeah.
We lost to them at home. It's a Turkish team, and then there was a video of a West Ham supporter like, "We lost to fucking Astragugu." Yeah. So none of that business. We were playing Seville, Lyon, like European royalty, and beating them.
Got to the semi-final as well, didn't you?
We did. We had a bit of a mare away at Eintracht Frankfurt. Aaron Crossrail got sent off.
Oh yeah.
And it really, really done us. Although, funny enough, they were managed by Glasner, who's at Palace now, and they were really good. They were really good. But so say the Seville game. Obviously, like, this is Seville. We're in their competition. And it was 1-1, and then Yarmolenko scored. Wow. And obviously you had the time with the Russia invading Ukraine and everything.
Yeah.
Place just went bananas. Like, shaking. Funnily enough, I missed our first goal that night because obviously I was a bit excited. going to the game, so I was having a drink. So I work near Camden, so I walked from Camden. I left work an hour early. I worked through my lunch. Walked from Camden to the Grand
Wow.
over in Stratford because it was a bright sun.
Fucking hell, bro.
You're actually a psychopath.
You're a madman.
Oh mate, it was lovely.
It's crazy.
No, no. I can't even think.
Mate, it was a sunny day. It was a sunny day, a nice brisk walk. Stopped off at a couple of places along the way.
That's 24
Grabbed
hours.
a few beers. Had a beer or two on the way. Can
There we go. That was going to be my question. Did you have a drink?
Yeah.
Because that's the only way this could
got
work.
to the Grand.
It's a 2.5. It's a 6.5 mile walk.
Yeah,
Wow.
mate,
You're a psycho.
at this time, I would have run through brick walls to watch West Ham. It was that exciting.
You did this by choice, though. It wasn't through necessity. You chose to
Yeah.
walk 6.5 miles to the game.
You could legit have done a 10, 15
I was a
minute
healthier
train
stage of life. I will add that.
Yeah.
Despite the beers on the way, I was at a healthier stage. Yeah, and I was still there well early before kickoff. So again, grab another couple of beer in the sunshine, reading a program, and we're about to play Leon. I'm like, fucking Leon, Janino, Benzema, like all these players I played for them, and West Ham are playing them. We've knocked out Seville, and we're playing them. Like it was, and obviously we were losing from the first. Oh no, we ended up losing that on the night. Dembele done something a bit sneaky, and we lost 1-0 on the night. But then we won 3-0 out there. And yeah, I just did not think that going to this place, West Ham would experience this. And I asked my dad, because he come to a couple of the games, and he goes, I've had some of the best times of my life at the bowling, but he goes, when the London Stadium was rocking, it was just as loud, if not louder than the bowling. And at the time, everyone was united behind the team. And that's why I say the best thing Moyes ever did was forget that we'd sold our soul in losing Upton Park. Because at times, it felt like it was becoming home.
Yeah.
And that's what, as football supporters, all we want to do is see our team win. And if they do it in an attractive way, all the better. But you're there to see them win. And Moyes was doing that. Like, he got mocked, didn't he? He goes, that's what I do. I win. And everyone was like, you're at West Ham, mate.
Yeah.
And we all said it. But we were doing it. And as you say, we got to the semi-finals and we'd lost to a good Frankfurt side. Could we have won? Maybe. But they were better. But again, fortunately, we got conference football the next year. And although it's the competition down, I was so excited because 2 years of European football on the bands. I think West Ham hadn't had that for donkey's years. The man.
Yeah.
It was well publicised. We didn't have a good league year during the season. And there was... remember John earlier on mentioned, was there any managers that got forced out for playing the West Ham way? It started to happen with Moyes. Obviously, when it's going good, that style of football is exciting, catching teams on the break, playing quick. But if you concede goals, it gets questioned. And some supporters really didn't like it. Me, myself, I was having rows with our own supporters. So like there was someone in front of me, he's still like a couple of rows in front now. He really hates Souček.
Oh wow!
Like, yeah, like really, really slags him off.
Yeah.
And this was the season we won the Conference League, and I was like, what are you expecting? What do you expect? Like, we're West Ham. We're not going to have the best players in the world. He does really well for us. I can ask you boys what you think of him, but I think, all right, he's got certain limitations, but I think he's good and he's an effective player.
Yeah.
And again, it just felt like, the claws of modern football were digging in a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
We've done well. Why are we still with these players? Why are we not getting better ones? I'm like, all right, it's not going so well, and all right, Moyes' tactics ain't working right now, but we're still competitive. People don't want to go there and play us. We weren't the soft touch that John referred to earlier. Like, we had a really good home record. I think we were beating Man City in the League Cup and things like that at the time at home. And they usually slap us.
Mm.
Well, as they were doing with most teams at the time, weren't they?
Yeah, pretty much.
And I've never felt so... Obviously, it was different. I had a season ticket, but I felt connected at the time to so many West Ham players. So, Souček, Antonio, Dawson, and of course my sweet prince Pablo.
I was waiting for that.
And even though we were in the conference, it was still a bit of a joyride for us. We're like, we're winning games. This is a laugh. All right, we weren't playing Seville and Lyon, but we're winning games and we're going far. And I never really had a thought of, like, we can win this. I was like, let's just carry on playing football. This is fun. I was enjoying, like, even though it was Sunday, Thursday, it was great. And again, came from it another, what other teams would see as a bloody annoying song in West Ham are massive. As soon as we get good, we will make a song that will piss you lot off eventually. And then we get to, I ain't going to go too in depth in it, but that night in Prague, because it's very recent, so like you all know what happened, but just a little story. It's like my West Ham life come round full circle, because obviously I've got a job and I could have easily gone to Prague. So people are like, oh, do you want to go? Are you going to go? You gonna do this? And I said no. I was like, I need to watch it with my dad. It's not like when we might not get to another final. I didn't think we was going to get to another final after the FA Cup. And then I went out and I was like, we might not get to another final. Like, I need to watch it with my dad.
Yeah.
So I didn't go to Prague. And like a lot of people always say that's a bit strange, but I was like, well, this is the completion of the journey for me. It started with him and we're going all the way around. And it kind of echoes what West Ham, what I was brought up West Ham to be, is like tradition, family, in it together. And so I really didn't see Prague as going there as a thing. I just knew I had to watch it with him, and obviously me, my mum and my sister too. Funnily enough, John was down there with me, with our mates Shawnee and Mixer as well down the pub, and I was just shocked at the final whistle. It's just not, West Ham don't win things in my lifetime, and Mitch have the same feelings about the League Cup this year. Like the absolute shock of we've done it.
Yeah,
we've done it. Semi-final, when Pablo scored, like he run from the halfway line, like meg someone, put it in the corner. I was running around the pool table. I was picking people up, jumping up and down, and we won that. And I was just done for. If you wouldn't mind communicating to John for me, I'm pretty sure he took a video at the time.
I took
I
a
just
photo.
stood there with my hands on my head.
Yeah, if you give me a minute.
Oh, you got
He's took a photo. He hasn't. There's no video. He took a photo of it.
Oh, right.
It's in the Owls group at the minute.
Yeah, give me a sec.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. Yeah, as I say, I was just in shock. I just stood there, and obviously the pub that night, the good old Flower Pot in Walthamstow, it was decked out in claret and blue.
Mm.
I think I nicked a flag out of there actually. I think I've still got it now. Yeah, just amazing. I'll wait till Mitch has got the picture up. They're gonna ask him. I'll also ask for you to interpret to John for me. What is it like for a non-West Ham supporter in there, John?
It was amazing. It's I think where being a Saints fan, I come from a history of not really. I'm still waiting. Unless you count Johnson's paint trophy, I suppose. But it's a bit like in March when like Newcastle won the League Cup. I was buzzing for Mitch, and I think it's just when you see someone that's genuinely been through the trenches have a moment like that, you got to be pretty hard hearted to not sort of not enjoy the moment and love it for them. But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, Samir's a hater. Samir wouldn't. He would have had no joy for anybody in that moment. Samir is such a hater. Yeah, John was basically saying it was hard as a Southampton fan. It was hard not to he doesn't know many people apart from Samir that wouldn't feel joy for someone in that moment.
And I'm not gonna lie, both times I hated it. I hate both yours. I hate both yours.
Get used to it, Samir.
I mean, full disclosure, I was very dumbfounded here, but I got into the swing of things eventually. I really pissed off a local as I was going around spraying people with champagne, and he really took umbrage on it. Just went out for a quiet pint and then got soaked. Yeah, it was a good night. And then I went to the parade the next day, which was absolutely fucking mental. I've never seen so many people in one place.
Sounds like hell for you.
Yeah. Well, everyone was in a good mood for once in East London.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it couldn't kick off because there literally wasn't enough space.
Where was the parade? Was it Stratford or was it by where the bowling used to be?
It started where the bowling used to be and went down to Stratford.
Okay.
Nice.
And it was heaving. I think I got there 2 hours before they were due to get to the Town Hall in Stratford High Street.
Yeah.
And I still couldn't get nowhere near the front. And I obviously I booked the day off work thinking I'd have a hangover because we lost. So I stayed up all night watching videos and just watching my team, the team that had sort of gone from being awful with certain additions. We were better than the sum of parts. And just watching videos of all getting mashed off their tits. Like coming out the next day with the old dark glasses on to cover the bloodshot eyes. I was like, I couldn't be prouder. Old Moisey doing his little jig in the changing rooms. Him with the trophy with his dad, like shining the medal. I don't think we got you'll have a clip of it, but it was just like so heartwarming. And again, it was that family thing I've mentioned about West Ham. It was just all so perfect. And just like earlier on, it was so great, and then we fucked it again. John referred to it. Have managers been pushed out for not playing the West Ham way? And eventually, Moyes did. When it weren't winning, people weren't happy with it. It's like we won the conference, or we done well in the conference, but the league was poor. We have to move on to the next thing. We're not playing football like we did when we had Lou Macari in the 80s and everything. And it's like there's no realism in football support anymore.
Mm.
Like, what else can he do? We went from a side that didn't even want to turn up to our ground every week. Ah, there it is. Magic. Like, just good, feel good stuff. But he was pushed out because they weren't playing the football they expected. They weren't playing football like we did in the 80s and things like that. Like,
Yeah, it made no sense.
modern football's it's like a totally different, it's more or less a different sport.
Mm.
We've got like 2 clubs owned by states in Man City and Newcastle. Although, like, Newcastle don't spend like Man City, but the point stands. You got Man United that turn over £1 billion. You got Liverpool, who are traditionally massive. You got Arsenal that have won league titles more or less every decade since the 30s. Like, and then there's other teams with so much money, like Tottenham, owned by, although like Levy's the chairman, that ENIC, all these massive companies. Like, what can we do? We overachieved. All right, we're quite a big club compared to some others, but we're not going to constantly, we're not going to like break into the top 6 all the time.
Mm.
Like, Moyes has to do it this way. We can't go out and buy all these mega expensive players. We have to do it a certain way. And some people would say he'd run his course, but I just thought the way he was forced that just really left a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah.
Like, that's not how he should have ended. Like, he gave me some, like, his team gave me some special times, and everyone wanted more, and I don't think we enjoyed it enough. Like, yeah, I know standing still in football is going backwards, but we've gone back into our cycle of getting to a good point and we're dropping back down again. And we've gone round to the beginning of the London Stadium again. Like, the board issues are back. There's rumblings in the ground. The team's crap again currently. Hoping Potter can change it, but we're not very good again. So when you're not winning and you're not excited what's on the pitch, you're looking around and you're thinking, oh, it's not Upton Park. Oh, we're in like the middle of Stratford in like a big park. It's not being like in the East End, and it's going back to them old problems again. And people, it's not really been publicised. I'm surprised, but I didn't. I should have took a screenshot of my phone. Loads of season ticket holders have not renewed. I've had so many messages over the summer of renew your season ticket, renew your season ticket, renew your season. You can get more season tickets for friends and family and things like that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
And and like, but I don't disagree with the people that are leaving.
Mm.
It's just, it feels a little bit like, again, the clause of modern football, like they're there to be entertained. No, you support West Ham or you don't.
Yeah.
Like, generally, I wondered this year whether or not I was going to do it. Like, for a day, I was thinking, just buy my own place. Can I really afford a season ticket?
Mm.
And it was more the atmosphere there at the moment. And I'm like, barely 2 years ago, we were winning the conference, and it's got to this already. But so it ever was. It's always boom and bust with West Ham, ups and downs. And I really don't know where we go from here, actually.
Yeah, that's a big question, isn't it?
To leave on a very uncertain point,
Yeah.
I genuinely don't know what the future holds. I don't know what you lot think of it, because obviously you hear about me moaning every week.
Yeah.
But maybe we're having our down and there's an up around the corner. But at the moment, I don't see it, actually. Or I'm not sure where it comes from. I'm hoping it does, but I'm not sure where it comes from at the moment.
Yeah, I think you're in a weird position where revenue is the be all and end all with PSR and everything, and you don't really get the benefits of loads of revenue from the stadium as such. You're in a position where it's going to be hard to move massively forward from where you are. It's going to take another complete change for you to be able to push on properly from the position you're in, which is a tough one.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I just want a team that work hard and are better than the sum of their parts. Like to go back to John's question on what's the West Ham way.
Yeah.
It was always perceived as really good football, attacking this, and we had some of the best players England's produced, and we were still in the second division. It don't really matter. It's been turned into a West Ham way, is a certain way of playing football. I look at it as being a really tight-knit group that fight for each other, and then usually once you've got that, some good football comes off the back of it.
Yeah. Fair enough. I feel that's a good place to kind of end. I've got one thing that would be good to get a little bit of an update on. I know he no longer has a contract from what I understand, but how is this man getting on from what you know from the club? Because after recent events, he was a very lucky boy, and I've seen videos of him working out and walking and stuff.
Big Mick. So, at the end of the season, clubs have like the retained list, and they just let you know who they've let go. So Cresswell left, Fabian, and 4 first-team players left, and they withheld their decision on Antonio because they didn't feel it was right to comment at this time.
Okay.
He's played in the Gold Cup for Jamaica.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to release him.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
well, they've obviously helped him back into a position where he's able to actually play football. So if it then gets to the point of actually making a decision based on actual footballing reasons, if they've helped him up to a certain point. So you can't really fault him for that.
Also, when he's released, we no longer have any players that played at Upton Park.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
So that is firmly gone, and I certainly think that is a contributing factor to a flailing team. There's none of them old school values that supporters hold dear. Because you have traditions. Every club has their traditions.
Yep.
And as now are worn away. And you look at who's left and you think you're not sure anything's being passed on.
Yeah, fair enough. Right, I'm going to try this one more time to see if it's the right one.
Samir's looking at that going, oh, it's not North London forever, is it?
I was actually enjoying that. It made me sick to my stomach.
Oh, quality.
Yeah, I do like that song too. I'm not gonna lie.
Right. We have done everything West Ham related for the evening.
For the
We're
season,
going to do one more thing before we go. As we spoke about, Antonio, tragically, both of these two gentlemen lost their life the other day in a car crash and have left behind a whole host of people, from wives, mothers, kids, cousins, and everything. And it is an absolutely heartbreaking thing to happen to anybody, regardless of whether they're in the limelight or not. But yeah, what a tragic occurrence. So I would personally like to say to all of Diogo Jota's and Andre Silva's family, condolences, and yeah, thoughts with you at this terrible time.
Yeah,
absolutely, and echoed.
Yeah, tough. Even just speaking about it sort of wells me up slightly. So yeah, it's such a tragic thing to happen. So
Thoughts and prayers.
Yes, most definitely. And that is how we're going to leave it this evening. So people, we will see you next week. Take care.